We are back with episode 4 of season 4 of We Do a Little Pod. And before we jump in, I just want to highlight some major news we announced for this season. Season 4 is officially powered by Arbitrum, and our content is now redistributed across Rug Radio and Decrypt's platforms. Annie and I have been massive fans of Arbitrum since they launched, and both of us invested in Offchain Labs Series B back in 2021. This is a full circle moment for us, and we couldn't be happier to partner with Arbitrum for this season. If you've never felt the frictionless transactions at lightning speeds on the world's most decentralized L2, what are you waiting for? Head on over to portal.arbitrum.io to check out their growing ecosystem where you can explore 600 plus apps and even participate in missions to earn points. And we know what happens when you get points. Without further ado, let's dive into this week's episode. In this week's episode, we sit down with Toni Marinara and Rhynotic, two of the most under-the-radar Chad art patrons in the digital art space right now. Rhynotic is a gigabrain dev helping build out PREMINT, which is the best allowlist platform in town. Toni is a badass lawyer who's representing and championing the culture of code with ArtXCode. This episode is jam-packed with art vibes. We dive into how we fell in love with the art, the difference between patrons and collectors and how to onboard more patrons, the importance of art history, balancing breadth versus depth when it comes to connections, and so much more. As always, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Andy, Deeze, and guests may be invested in companies or tokens talked about on this podcast. We're back here with the first episode of Shipwrecked, season 4 of We Do a Little. We're here with two of the most Chad collectors in the space, and Redbeard, of course. With any Shipwrecked episode, we're here with Adam, aka Rhynotic, Skull Lucy, fellow Cabal member, big X copy collector, overall steward of culture.
Yes,
too kind.
I mean, the stash.
Oh yeah. Just dripping. I mean, both of these
very
gentlemen.
Jealous of the stash.
I didn't even get to introduce Toni yet, and we're already talking about the stash.
I can't believe we're talking about stash. I tried to trim my stash the other day, and I gave myself a half Hitler, and I was like, well, there goes that.
Are you normally clean shaven, or was that just for
clean shaven. I look like a crazy man right now. So.
Okay. Do you normally look like Benny?
No. I just keep nice.
It's like a nice
scruff.
like a goatee.
Scruff.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice. I like it actually.
I've got I can't do that. I wish I could.
You could try. It took me a long time to do this.
It took you 40 years to grow it out. You've been growing it out since you're 8 years old. No, but I didn't introduce Toni. Toni, badass lawyer, working with ArtXCode, one of the great collectors in the space who we think is here for the art, for the artist, not to make a quick flip, make a quick buck. So I thank both of you guys for coming here. I know it's early. It's 10 a.m. on a weekend. Yeah. Out late last night, but thank you for being here. And
pleasure.
So I'll start off by telling you my story with Toni.
How did you meet Toni?
Okay. So in early 2019.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I went to
Stratus times.
My friend Vlad Ginsburg.
Yes.
Who we
love Vlad.
Said, yo, do you want... I had taken a year off. I think I told this was another podcast. I took a year off in 2018 from crypto to mentally come back. So I was a little bit involved, but not as much as I was in 2011 to 17. So I took a year off, kind of. I had to also take care of some issues at school. We had a fire in my school. I had to rebuild my school.
Yeah, big fire.
So, and a few of my friends were like, yo, you need to get back in. There's this NFT stuff. And I had gotten an NFT early on from A Lot of Money. He made my banner, and I was very close with him. And so I was like, yo, what's going on with these NFT stuff? And he's like, oh, man, they're great. So anyways, Vlad says, you should come to this art event in New York City. You could buy a pixel of a movie as an NFT.
One pixel.
I think I bought 4 of them. I don't know which wallet they're on. They're probably gone. So we get there and there's this giant screen of this movie, and I own 4 of these pixels. I don't even know where they are.
They're probably historical. It's gonna be like the next Lost Robbie.
And actually, she was a great artist. I can't remember her name. It's killing me now. I don't know if you remember.
I wasn't even there, bro. Right?
No, I know.
Okay.
But anyways,
it leads.
I'm like, where do I come in?
He set a stage. He bought 4 pixels in a movie.
I bought that day a 1-to-1 Dimitri Cherniak. I actually bought 2 of them.
The ringers, the pre-ringers.
Pre-ringers. Pre-algorithmic ringers, but they're beautiful pieces. And I got to meet these people called ArtXCode because they were so early. and this was one of the gentlemen, along with 2 other amazing people who were involved, and they've been around. Like, I mean, Tony's literally been here since the start, and people don't know this.
I came in after, like, so Sophia and Sebastian, who's now at Christie's, founded ArtXCode back then. So in 2018, they were doing thing like, you know, no one gave a fuck.
Nobody gave a fuck.
But they did. Sophia was messing around with processing, and she was working at JP Morgan as a coder in art. And Sebastian came from the trad art world. So they were best friends, and together were like, wow, this is really great.
I have such a great photo that I want to put up right now at this moment of the 2 of them that I took when we were. Yeah,
the photos from those early shows are they're like, they give me goosebumps. Like, you see like all these early Tylers and Dimitris on the wall. And
how did you meet Sophia? Like, were you following her artistic career at all from the sidelines, or?
I was like in crypto, just dabbling around, and she is my wife, Christina's best friend.
By the way, his wife is not just his wife. His wife's amazing.
She is.
She's like incredible.
Yeah.
Just want to throw that out there. Shout out.
Shout out to Christina.
This guy's really lucky. I don't know how he got.
She's an amazing woman. She's an art director at Gucci.
How did you meet her?
I met her. She was at Calvin Klein at the time. My best friend Maria was at Calvin, and I was like, "Who is this Vision?" And my friend was like, "She's way too good for you. I'm not introducing you."
She was like,
"Fuck off."
Yeah.
And like for like 2 years, just like kind of like knew her adjacently, and then actually one day we just matched on Raya, and I was like, "Fuck you, Maria!" Like, I was right. My intuition was right. And after that, we went out, and now we're married.
I mean, just like a flex, like, oh, my wife is, you know, works at Gucci. Like, and she
also has her own art platform as well, Art Child, on the side. So like she's involved too in the scene.
We should get her on the pod now that I think about it. I don't know why we had
She's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, come through to Milan, and you'll do it at Gucci HQ or something. No, but so I got into ArtXCode because I just like the art. Like I went to a show that Sebs and Soph did in New York. I was like, this is really cool. At the time, I had just seen Rarible come up, and I was like, okay, like I don't really understand NFTs.
A lot of people wash trading on Rarible,
but
getting
it
Rari
was so
token.
early. It was just like I like bought some Rari. That's how like I got exposed to it. I was like, oh, look at this. People are buying and selling images on the blockchain. Okay. The art was all like pretty shit.
It's crazy that like OpenSea was out and we didn't care. Like OpenSea was out back then, but like more people used Rarible. Like that was my experience too.
I used Rarible pretty early on. Like it was
no
a
one
little
used
raw,
OpenSea that early.
Right? It was like sort of like I got some Rari. I think I still even own it. I don't even know.
Anyway,
what it is.
I bought a few. I bought like
hopefully
some pieces.
You're not holding Rarible.
No.
You sold it. You moved on. You're like
very early.
There's actually maybe some art here that isn't just something somebody copied and uploaded.
So yeah, like what happened was I went to the show, and like I don't think they were NFTs in this show, but they it was algorithmic art. It was generative art, and I was like, that is awesome. Like, what is going on with this? So I went into like my own rabbit hole, thanks to Sophia and Sebastian, and I came across the early algorists, Vera Molnar and Manfred Moore, and then more contemporary artists like Tyler was what really hit it for me. Like Tyler and Manolo Gamboa Noan. And I went on Tyler's print shop, bought some physical pieces, and I was just like, these are incredible. So I got in early, but on the physical side, I missed early art blocks and all that. But I was like just kind of geeking out on generative art. And then I started collecting. I don't know if my first art blocks was Watercolor Dreams by Numbers of Motion.
Okay, yeah.
Which I love.
So is that like late 2021?
Yeah. No.
Early 2022 or no? Is it?
It was early 2021, I think.
Oh,
right?
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I have a couple. It all blends together.
Yeah, they're really beautiful, like in motion and still. So collected some of those, and then I was like, okay, now I get it. Finally, I get NFTs. Click too late. Like this makes total sense, but let's do it. Started collecting and really just started talking about the art that I was collecting on Twitter. And formed these relationships via DM with artists. Just, I wouldn't say it was like critique, but just like talking about the work, talking about how much I liked it, and then complaining about my job as a corporate attorney on Twitter and my tweets. So
That's the best.
yeah,
That's
like,
why we use Twitter. It's to complain
just
about.
fucking,
I mean, that's what's there for. I complain about my mother-in-law usually.
those are my favorite tweets of yours, by the way. So through these conversations and I was like heavy in Block Talk at the time, just chatting about the art with people.
Yep.
I formed these really beautiful relationships with a few artists, and I was like just messing around on Twitter, and I came across these like generative paint splats, and I was like, what is this? And I go to the guy's profile. He just like posted it, and it's this kid named Lars Wander. See that, he's at Google, not minting anything. And I messaged him. I was like, hey, this is really cool. Would you mint it on Object, actually?
Yeah.
Because he had minted like a study for himself, like on Object.
So he's already familiar with it.
Yeah,
already
like,
had
he
a
just
wall
was
set
like
up.
testing around.
It's like, why
But
not?
He wasn't trying to sell his work commercially, really. So I was like, can you mint this? He minted like 10 editions. I bought them all. And then we just started talking. And I was like, you have legs. Like, this is beautiful work. Like, you need to keep pushing in this. And then he released a bunch of FX hash projects, and we would just talk, and I would give him some like informal advice. And then Martin Grasser came out with Squares. I had not minted art blocks in like I took off like a year from minting art blocks, and
Yeah, I think we all did.
Yeah.
Like we had to take time off. It was like 2021 was too crazy. The Dutch auctions were like a little too much.
You lose money on every mint. So like,
yeah, I mean, we could be in it. Like, we're in it for the art, but like when we're paying 4 ETH for something, it's like it better be
Adds
something we
up,
fucking
yeah.
love.
I know. I kept minting. I
I just got burnt. The thing was, I got burnt on every mint. Like,
wouldn't
be able to mint. It would, because of the gas, I would end up fucked. And I was like, you know what? I'm not even gonna bother with
sharding. It's coming.
No.
2028.
Sure,
We'll see. Took a year off.
So
they came out. You're like, shit, I need to get
They
back
come
in
out, Squares come out, and I just like, wow, minted this project. This is awesome. I would go into Block Talk, really excited about it. I'm like, Squares are so beautiful. And some guys like, get the fuck out of here, like shilling your bags, like they're just squares. And I was like, okay, fuck you. And I go to OpenSea and I like buy another one, and it comes up in Block Talk. And
Isn't
I'm
it
like,
always like that? Like, I think I tweeted this out the other day. If somebody hates something and I like it, I'm just always like, all right, I'm gonna buy more.
That's why I have
yeah,
26
well, I had
bucks.
taken off from Block Talk because it became like, it was at once this beautiful place where like people were just really vibing about the art, like having fun conversations, like getting along. And then when the money came into play, people started getting really angry on there. So I dipped, and that was my first time back in to talk about Squares. And then I get attacked, and I was like, okay, real cool. So that spurred me to just like write a little tweet about how beautiful Squares was. And then a couple weeks later, at this time I was living in London. I was working in corporate law at this terrible firm that I will not name.
Did you wear a suit every day?
Yeah.
Oh man, that would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Did you feel comfortable in a suit?
Bro, suit's like a second skin for me. I used
Oh,
to have a men's tailoring company. That was like my
here we
side
go.
hustle.
Now we're talking. So you like good fitting clothing.
Oh yeah. Like, give me a Neapolitan, no padded jacket, and that's like, it's like
do you know
pajamas.
the terms for the jackets? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Suit pajamas could be kind of interesting.
Spalla mappina is
Now
what
that
they
you
call
say
it.
that-
It's like it's this unstructured.
Is this from Italy?
Is this? No, this is English. This is Drake's.
Is this from Italy?
This is from Paris.
Is the thread count?
Benny's hands
Is the
on,
thread
right?
count different, or like the clothing different in each country?
I mean, everyone has their different styles of tailoring, different materials that they use. Like, definitely, it really varies.
Which country do you prefer?
I prefer English and Scottish cloth, but tailored by Southern Italians.
Okay,
That's
that's
really
spoken like a
specific.
man who knows his shit.
that's like, that's very specific.
So anyway,
sorry.
long story short,
Squares,
I feel like this is the longest winded thing
You got
ever
to thread
about-
out on
But
Squares.
this is the journey, yeah. So I put it out there. I'm in London. Sophia comes to visit Christina, and she's staying with us. And we're out to dinner, and I get a message from Lars, and he's like, "Hey, I was thinking, would you be open to representing me, like kind of like an agent?" And I was like, "Man, I don't know. I'm working on the fucking T-Mobile bond deal right now. Like I can't even think about it. Like I'm tweeting this stuff about your art on my bathroom breaks in the law firm, like in the stall, like just trying to like find a little bit of happiness. I have no time. And then and I tell Sophia, and she's like, oh, that's cool. Like you should think about that, man. Like do that. And then the next day, Martin Grasser messages me, same message basically. And I turn to Sophia, I'm like, hey, Martin Grasser just messaged me and asked me to represent him. And this was just a pure coincidence. Like him and Lars didn't talk about this. And me and Soph look at each other and we're like, should we just do the damn thing? And then we turned ArtXCode into an agency. So I formally joined on. I was still at the firm. We started by representing Lars, Marty, and IX Shells.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a good trio to start with.
And Sophia had been working with Itzel for years, like informally, just as a friend. So we formalized it all.
Now who's on the whole docket?
Well, now we've like really expanded since then. So now it's Lars, Marty, Luke Shannon,
Luke, right?
Sasha Stiles, Itzel, Linda Dunya, Entangled Others, which is Felican, Kirkbride McCormick, and Sophia Crespo. And we are also bringing on now, I guess, cat's out of the bag, Echo 33,
Okay.
who's an incredible artist.
10+ stack artists in that roster.
Yeah, I mean, we're at what? We're at like 9 now.
Okay, I missed.
So-
I was trying to keep track of my head.
Almost 10.
But they're all like family. Like the thing that happened with these relationships is that it all started off as friendships that, you know, naturally found their way to representation. And like Linda and I had just became like best friends for years. In fact, when she like asked me to represent her, I was like, oof, like I love you, man. Like we're like literally like on the phone all the time just as friends. But I couldn't say no. She's too good, and I love her to death. So everyone there, we had a pre-existing
You quit your job as a
relationship.
lawyer, right?
So yeah, I'm there at the firm, and my wife in like August gets an offer to go to Italy to be an art director at the time it was at Montclair. And I turned to her, I was like, I'm quitting the firm immediately. I was like, I'm quitting the firm. You're taking the offer because I'm Italian. My life's dream is to go live in Italy.
You're
I'm
like,
like,
fuck yeah, like
fuck London. I'm out of the
fucking go.
rain.
Yeah.
We're going to Milan. So I put in my notice and just wound things down at the firm. And then
When you
here
told
we
your
are.
boss that you were quitting to do digital NFT art, did
you even tell them?
Did
No
they think that you were fucking
No
crazy?
fucking way. Like at the time, you know, just like when you go out for drinks with people at the firm, like we were talking about art. This one of the partners' wives is a pretty talented artist, and so I would mention generative art and showed them, you know, ringers and Fidenza, like just as like gateway things.
Yeah.
And they all thought I was just mentally ill. They're like, "You're an idiot." They're like, "How much are these things worth?" And I like told them, and they're like, "Sell that right now. Like sell that right now.
Sell it right
You're
now."
insane."
That's not art.
You're like,
Who
so-
owns it? Where is it?
They would make fun of me every day. I would walk in.
I can make that.
Yeah, I would
Right.
walk in. They
We've
would be
all
like,
been in this
"Oh,
scenario."
here's the punk," and like
Yeah.
I don't even have a punk. You know,
Yeah.
like here's the monkey guy, and
Yeah.
I didn't have a monkey. Like so.
Yeah. So when you left, you told them to go fuck themselves?
No, I didn't tell them
Oh, okay.
anything actually about it. Really funny story is that this is funny. The IT guy at the firm
Yeah.
bought a bunch of apes
Yeah.
and like made
That's
like
me in another world.
he
I was
made,
I
he
was
made
like,
tons of money. And he quits, and like he went up to the partners, and he was like, "Fuck you."
Did he really do that?
Yeah.
Did he sell them?
I don't know what his story is.
Oh my
I don't even
God.
know who. I didn't know
That's
the
an
guy.
incredible story.
I mean, I was the IT guy, like working for
Right.
government agency.
Wait, you were this IT guy?
No.
Oh, a different IT guy.
Different IT guy.
How many IT guys did this and
A
then
lot.
quit their jobs?
I tried
Yeah?
to get my whole IT division to buy into punks at like $1,200, and they were just like, "You're an idiot," and I'm like, I got a feeling, guys.
Yeah. I mean, it's always like that.
I
Anytime-
had the Andreas Antonopoulos like Internet of Money book
Yeah.
on
Yes.
my desk at work. And then people would walk by and like, what is this? Look at it. Oh, this is bullshit. Put it back. Like I had like Chris Bernesky's crypto assets book on my desk. People would look at it like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, and
Yeah.
then you leave and I wanted to tell everyone fuck themselves. Like I basically only told my manager that and then was like super respectful with everybody else. But
Yeah.
the IT guys, dude, they got out. Like that was the COVID work from home, fall into the rabbit hole. That was like the IT guy dream.
I mean,
Incredible.
everybody who is early, even like if you got into crypto, even like back in the day, I remember we had people who would
This
call
is 30,
me,
30,
call me randomly and just be like,
30-plus-year-old nerds
yeah,
and
you should
20
sell,
year
you
olds
should
who
sell
want
right now.
drugs.
I could get the random calls from people. Like, you should sell everything, all your Bitcoin right now. That was like at $4,000, right? You know, and I remember when Ether like came out and the ICO happened, and
I should have sold all my Fidenzas
Yeah.
probably when he was showing his people.
yes,
That's when you
exactly.
sell.
That is when you sell.
But when they're like 200 ETH
Yeah,
and you're like, oh yeah, this thing's like over. Yeah, you should probably just.
I think Fidenzas will have a
But,
nice.
but he
Yeah.
talked me into
one.
flooring a Fidenza in April
Okay, hold on.
of this year
Let's
for,
be- let's
for
be-
80 grand.
Yeah.
And then I ended up buying a skull on
Yeah.
accident.
Okay.
All
So it's not a bad. It wasn't a
Art
bad deal.
into art, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wasn't like you like I'm
It
not.
kind of felt like Benny knew the skull was gonna be available and knew that I didn't have liquidity, so he's like, "You should sell like your ringer and Fidenza." And then a week later,
I don't know what you're talking about, but you did get a skull.
a week later, this
Yeah.
like really nice skull is just available
Yeah.
under the floor, and he calls me on the phone and
it's like
tells
Christmas.
me, and he's like, "Hey, you might be interested in this."
The skull happened to be there. I don't know how it ended up there.
It just felt like Benny orchestrated something in the
I don't
background. and-
orchestrate anything.
Adam, do you ever feel like that in
he
the
does.
skull community? Do you
Oh,
feel
like we
that-
can't confirm it, but
No,
you feel like Benny is just like pulling
I'm not.
strings?
I'm just building tunnels.
I was just gonna mention the tunnel. So that's
Yeah.
where you guys have been holding all the
Yeah.
the rituals.
So I have a tunnel that comes now from my house to Brooklyn to Manhattan. I'm currently building one that's going to take me to Connecticut.
Do you have one that goes to your school? Can you just?
Oh
go-
yeah. That's, of course. I
well,
do.
we took the tunnel
Yeah.
here today.
Yeah.
Me and Benny. So
Yeah, we're allowed to. Wait, Adam, are you Jewish?
no.
Sorry.
sorry about
It's
that.
all right. No
Can't
tunnel
join our
access.
tunnels.
I've been to 770.
Really?
Yeah, I have a photo.
Oh yeah.
there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Remind me to put that picture up.
Okay.
I know
What-
that you're gonna hate.
What is 770?
770 is like it's like you know how like there's the Vatican.
Okay.
So for very religious Jews called the Lubavitch Jews, they have the Vatican, but it's not the Vatican. It's 770. It's where the biggest rabbi.
Wait, where is it?
It's
Here,
it's
Crown
here,
Heights.
Oh,
Crown
it's in
Heights.
New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's where the tunnels were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Now they stretch to miles long.
So my experience of the tunnel was just through the Twitter memes.
Yeah.
Of
Which
like,
were incredible.
How good were
there
they?
was
Oh,
the
I saw you
guy.
saw, right?
The discourse between the Italian American
Yeah.
cop, I think his name's like Mike Barata,
Yeah.
from Staten Island.
Yeah.
Who his nickname is the Rabbi,
Yeah.
by the way. Like, I looked the guy up. He's like assigned to Crown Heights, and he's like learned all their customs and is actually respected in the community. He's like got a good discourse with them, but where he's like, "I'm closing the whole shul up tonight," you know, and then the shul
Synagogue.
school? Yeah.
Synagogue.
Yeah, so he's like, "I'm closing the shul tonight. I want to fill up the holes tonight." And some guy memed, he's like, you know, what's beautiful is that these guys' ancestors had this conversation in Roman Judea like 2,000 years
100%.
ago, and I find that so beautiful.
They filled their tunnels up and stopped them from building tunnels 650 years ago. You know, it's just
good.
gonna keep continuing. Like,
Well,
so-
what is it with the? Is it to pray during COVID? Is that
we
the-
can't talk about it.
Yeah, we're not. It's like the skulls.
It's like the skulls.
Can't have a conversation about what happens.
Okay.
All
well,
I'll say is this:
the crazy
This is
thing
all I'll
that I
say.
saw were
Yeah.
that people heard noises under
Yeah,
their
yeah.
flats, and they thought they were
I
going.
don't. I think.
But
that was
I
just
think
like,
that was a fake tweet because that tweet doesn't exist. The
Does-
guy's like, "Oh, I deleted it because I was getting
Okay.
threats for being anti-Semitic." Blah blah blah.
Okay.
You know what? I just want to pretend it's true. Because it just
Yeah.
makes the story way better. So
I
let's
can just
pretend people
imagine
heard
just, like,
Yiddish
dozens of
under
people
their
along the
under
tunnel
their
were
basements
like-
that didn't exist.
Oh, you know what was a great one? You know that scene in Harry Potter where Professor Quirrell is like running through the Grand Hall and he's like, "There are trolls in the
trolls in the
dungeon."
dungeon, yeah,
And it's like,
That's actually-
Jews. There are Jews in the tunnels.
Dude, that's actually a great call.
so good.
By the way, we're allowed to say this. We're Jewish.
Yeah.
Well, no, for sure. We would not be just like throwing
Yeah.
shade.
I actually told Joe Pease that the next piece he should have is like just like one of his like city things, and out of nowhere, like a Jew should pop out
you
from a
should
tunnel,
just be in it holding a menorah.
right? Like holding menorah or something. But I don't think he's gonna do that.
No.
Every time we have a pod, I feel like I learned something new about the Jewish culture.
Yeah,
Last time I was learning
so
about
much.
the mezuzah. What
Mezuzah.
mezuzahs?
I gotta get you a mezuzah. We're gonna talk about that next podcast, by the way.
That's the door.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
I would have
it's a
thought that
little
you were
prayer.
Jewish.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh,
Yeah, you
look
could-
Jewish.
you have a
You
little
look like you
Jewish
could be
vibe.
Ashkenazi.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Could I be honorary?
Yeah.
Like, do you guys do honoraries?
Yeah.
Well, you can
100%.
convert,
Everybody's an honorary
but
Jew.
that's like
Is
It's hard. It's hard to convert.
Like, I have to like
it's,
learn.
they make it very hard. But once you convert, you're in it. You're
You're in
very
it.
well respected.
Yeah.
Same as
because
if you were
you've
born
gone
Did your
doing
through
wife?
it.
work.
Did
Yeah.
your wife convert?
No.
to convert,
my
you have
wife's
to
Cuban, like
read
Roman
Hebrew.
Catholic. Like,
Yeah.
and you
Oh,
have to have a bar mitzvah, right? Or
Religious.
like the whole no.
I don't.
What?
If you want to convert, you have to learn Hebrew,
No.
read the thing.
Relax. I'll just do it for you. It's
Nope.
we'll
But
make
you
it
gotta
easy.
do it right. Like,
We'll
you
go
gotta
take a
respect-
mikvah.
We'll do it. No, we'll give a NFT mikvah.
NFT mikvah. And then how do you
Right.
how do you do like NFT to fill in?
You know what? Let's ask Transient that one.
Can we collab with Stacks on that?
We'll let them
Put
figure that out.
a trace chip in there.
Yeah, we'll put a trace chip. Anyway, so that's
You moved to Milan.
yeah. So you moved to Milan, but now you're a part of ArtXCode, right?
Yeah. So
And Sophia is she's amazing.
she's pioneer.
And like I said, I remember them from early on, and then we got to meet through ArtXCode, and Tony and I think
I know how we met. We met because you were doing the charity
Yes.
auction with Amani,
Yep.
Yes.
and Itzel was doing it.
Ixel
and
was
so,
doing the piece.
You and I were like on the phone, just chatting and hit it off. Really.
Yeah, and it was
So-
great.
Shout
I-
out to Amani.
Yeah, Amani
she
really.
just-
Actually, Amani
Amazing.
just sent out all the laptops,
laptops,
to
yeah.
the students. It's
saw
really
that.
a special project. So I hope it. She's gonna try to grow it out to do more, see how
I
successful.
haven't
it
seen
is.
anything
That's
like
great.
that since she's done it.
No,
like
she's
there's
like one of the
not-
best educational nonprofits in the NFT space that I've seen, if any at all.
And shout out to you for helping
I
quite
didn't
a
do
bit.
anything,
No,
but
that's amazing, man. It's really good work. We should have more of that stuff.
we should do more
All
of
this
that.
money's being thrown around. People are getting rich. Like,
yeah,
got to think about that too. You
gotta
know
think
what I
We
about
mean?
need to do it on
children,
Ordinals, man.
actually.
0.1 Bitcoin reserves just
Yeah.
feels cheap.
I'm gonna
Start-
speak to Udi about that one. Right,
Get some of the quantum cats
Yeah.
involved.
100%.
Ordinals, man. I'm very interested in that.
Oh, we could talk about that.
I just don't have a good grasp of it. Like,
All right,
Ned
so-
Ryerson keeps sending me stuff to like
What
to
is
help
Ned
educate me.
into?
What's that?
What's he buying in
he
Ordinals?
bought a rip
Yeah,
cache.
he bought a rip cache.
Nice. Yeah.
I mean,
Swarm.
he's
I
just
have a
like
swarm.
Yep, that's
Nice.
right. Adam bought a swarm.
Did he text you when they were available?
No,
No, he knew. Like
I
to
knew
text
they were
everybody else.
fun,
So I didn't know. I must have. I'm pretty sure I saw Rip's thread when they came out, like a half hour after, and I don't think I read it. Like, I have this like brain block when I'm going through Twitter sometimes, and it's just like this torrent of information,
You're just
and
like,
you're
"I
just
can't."
kind of like, oh yeah, and then like you don't really take in what you're reading. He calls me 20 minutes later, and he's like, "Here, you buying this Rip cache thing?" He's like, "I'm not at my wallet. You should buy one though." And I was like, "Oh yeah, is that what I just looked at like 20 minutes ago?" Like, I didn't know what I was
It's a
like.
great project. I think Ordinals. I'm going to say this. When is this going live?
A couple months, or depending on when, but
Okay, good.
months.
Just because Snowfur is not going to be happy about what I'm going to say. Prefaced by that. We've had many conversations about Ordinals, but
preface.
just prefaced by that. So, Eric, I'm really sorry. before
this
I
is
say
coming
this.
out on his birthday, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to
He's
release this
slandering
on his
Eric
birthday.
on his birthday.
Yeah. No, and my whole thing is like this. It's very simple. I never think shading any chain is a good idea because I have no idea if the chain's going to make it or not make it. I'm obviously deep into Ether on a chain and art, and I believe it's going to last forever. But with that said, out of all the chains that do make sense to me to actually put art on, is Bitcoin. I mean, there's something about the provenance of being on chain of something that's going to last forever, being that it is expensive to inscribe, which I kind of like a little bit because it kind of keeps it to like real sort of
It's like a
stuff.
spam filter.
Yeah, it's like a spam filter. And I think you put a picture up, which we'll put up right here of that. You explained, I think, so well of to inscribe on Bitcoin is like that fancy golden carriage from like the 1400s that you know it's like, oh my god, it's beautiful even like 600 years later and has this provenance of how it is. Like, I thought you nailed that. Like,
I'm
yeah.
trying to rebrand. If you buy an ordinal, it normally takes like 10 minutes, and the user experience is really not close to Ethereum or Tezos or Solana.
Yeah.
So people are like, "Oh, it's clunky, it sucks, it's old," and I'm like, "No, this is like luxury vintage."
You got to work
100%.
for it.
Yeah, you got
Yes.
to work for it.
And-
That's the thing, but that's what stopped me, which I guess is pretty. I'm fucking lazy, but like Proper's been trying to get me into ordinals like for a while. Shout out to Proper, he's
Yeah.
killing it there. But I guess I'm too stupid. I
So,
just
like,
don't know how to buy them.
I don't think you're too stupid. I think that to me, this is part of, and I've been saying this on Spaces. When I first bought crypto, right? I remember the experience was the most ridiculous thing in the
Yeah.
world. I mean, it was like hard to buy, and then I even remember like even 2000, like I guess starting.
Benny
15,
was going
16.
into tunnels with cash.
Yeah,
and
going
then
cash.
just getting
I've tried-
Bitcoin sent to him. Like
in the
that was
tunnels
his
with
first
cash.
time.
He was
Bitcoin.
mining them in the tunnels.
But then like when the ICOs came out, I remember the same thing, and it was even crazier because the way we were buying was on a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
No joke. And then what happened when Ordinals came right at the beginning?
Spreadsheet.
My friend said to me, he's like, "Yo, we should be getting these Ordinals." It was like when they were first started inscribing, and my friend we share a Bitcoin node, so it was a little easier for us to buy, to be honest with you. But whatever chat room we went into, the way we had to do it was putting our name on these spreadsheets.
Well, we had the spreadsheets. Like
Yeah.
Sophia and I
Yeah.
were looking at
It
them.
was
We were
great.
like, okay,
Right
like,
away, I
we've been
knew.
interested. We just like haven't taken the plunge. But I definitely want to do something that's meaningful. With the right artists.
But if you ever
to-
see a
to mint on
spreadsheet in
there.
crypto, I'm telling you right now, always go in.
Just go all.
Just go in. Spreadsheets to me equal
I
profit.
don't know, man. I
When-
lost
when-
a lot of
when-
money,
when-
and
I'm gonna send him a new
You can
spreadsheet.
sell.
buy.
We got a new idea. I just minted
Yeah, send me a spreadsheet. I'm investing.
256 cursed ordinals.
Yeah, I want someone to be like, you need a spreadsheet, and then you need to go to the bodega down the street, ask for Henry. He's gonna give you a paper bag with a little piece of paper in it. That little bag of piece of paper in it, you're gonna bring to the MoMA. You're gonna go to the second security guard on the third floor, and you're gonna give him the bag. He's then gonna give you a sticker on your hat. You're gonna take that hat. You're gonna go home. It's gonna be a QR code, and it's gonna lead you to a website where you call somebody who then gives you information on how to mint an NFT. I'm in.
The
Like
more
right
options-
away,
That
I'm
would
in.
kill, actually. Like,
Right?
yeah.
Would you not say that? I mean, that's it. It's like whatever I'm gonna buy at this moment, I know is
Something
going,
really hard
It's
to
gonna be
do.
hard to get. It's gonna be awesome. Like that to me is the best way to go
It's
into this.
way easier now. Like, have you
Yeah, it's a little
made
too
the,
easy. Maybe
the
I should
hop to
sell.
ordinals at
Yeah.
all?
I mean,
Yeah, but
you
you
just
said you got this
download
one.
like. I mean, I think it's Unisat.
Yeah.
For
Don't
like,
you don't
you
use
switch?
Unisat. Use Xverse.
I've switched.
Okay,
But
I learned that lesson.
for BRC20s.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
looking at it, and all my friends made a bunch of money, and I didn't because I was like, this
Like
is
on
dumb.
Ordi
Yeah.
and track and shit.
But Xverse is great. It's super easy. Magic
Yeah.
Eden makes it really easy.
Yeah, Magic Eden.
it's
Shout
so-
out. They really killed
It
it.
just feels like a 10-minute long Ethereum. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel that much different.
It's
But I
hard.
kind-
You can't speed up. I mean, you can speed up, but it's like I'm a little worried, and like my transaction just gets lost if it like I'm sitting at like a was it like 50 fee. and
50
it's just, like-
sats per
yeah,
VByte
and
or whatever it is.
It's at 60, and I'm like in limbo. Like I don't know. At least in Ethereum, you can cancel and speed it up.
Well,
But I like that. I like that. It's.
No.
I love it.
no,
I,
my first experience
love
was
waiting.
I tried to buy something. I bought it, and it took 3.5 hours
Yeah.
for the block to go through.
Yeah.
And in that time, I couldn't buy anything else because it said, like, the way that this whole UXTO
The
system works versus like Ethereum, which is count based.
the block is crazy. Like back in the day, I once sent my friend literally 25 Bitcoin. And that wasn't obviously worth what it was now, and it took like 4 days to get there. And,
Well, I
and
learned-
I remember my friend was like, we're both kind of sweating. Like, yo, is this coming? I'm like, I don't know, man. I was like, I thought I put the right address in, but like, and then it finally got there, and like, it's a different experience for sure. I mean, I don't know if it's 4 days, but it felt like 4 days. It was a while.
You're on the mempool Explorer and you're looking at the block.
How do they call it mempool, not mempool? How do they
It's
mess
memory, not memory.
That? I understand, but it's
old.
It's gotta
I mean,
go.
you think of the people who made Bitcoin. They're like serious people who.
I know they're serious. They're too serious.
No, I mean,
No, but it's good. It's important.
but I bought this thing. Took 3.5 hours. In that time, the price went up 80%. I couldn't buy another thing because the way this UXTO model works,
Yeah.
it's like you can't just fire off more pending transactions. So I sat there and then I bitched on Twitter, and like everything that happens, if I bitch on Twitter, I get an answer. And someone was like, oh, you go to this site, you take your transaction ID, you can increase the gas fee. So I paid like $150.
Wait, you could do that?
What?
You can increase your gas
Yes.
fee? Like
Someone
for-
mentioned that it was like a little, not risky, but like you could fuck it up with like the.
So I have no idea. Shout out to T.O.
He
He
knows more than
sent
I
me
do,
a
so.
link for like Xverse wallet transactions only, where you can speed them up, but it was
Whoa.
like, it almost felt like Ethereum where like I pasted an address. I was like, okay.
I love this.
I went to mempool. I'm like, it's 50 sats per VByte. My pending transactions at 25. Like, I'm gonna do 70.
I know I'm gonna get killed for this, but buying the Pixel, this makes me feel the same way.
The Pixel.
The movie Pixel?
The
Yeah,
movie
because
Pixel?
it's just
How
like
much did you pay
so
for those
early.
as well? I'm
I
curious.
don't know. I don't even know where they're on some wallet somewhere.
Can you disclose how much you paid for the early Dimitri piece? Is that public knowledge or no?
I mean, I don't think it's a secret, but you want to know?
Yeah.
I think
He doesn't remember.
$100.
Yeah, $750.
That's
I got
insane.
2 1-1s first. One, I want to say $750, and maybe the other one was
It's probably like
$1,200.
2 or 3 ETH at the time. Maybe more.
I actually paid him in ETH, which was why I did it.
I mean, back then you could steal one
Yeah.
full word.
It's
ETH,
crazy.
ETH was like $100 at one point too, so it'd be like
Dude, 100. It was like 14. I remember when it.
Yeah, 14.
I remember right after the ICO. I missed the ICO. My friend was trying to get me into it, but it was like a really
ICO
closed
was like
off group.
sub 30 cents or
Yeah,
30
and
cents.
then it explodes like, and then I bought like at $4, went to like $7, then like I think $12, and I thought I was like a genius. And I'm like, oh my god, I made so much money.
Yeah,
and then I
yeah.
sold it because then went down to 7. And I was like, "Pfft, I'm such a great trader. And
then
I
you
went
never bought back, yeah.
So I mean, like Houston. I mean, I kept some, but not. But yeah, I think like early on back in the day, that time was cool because, I said this on the podcast before. It was funny because it was like I could have bought a Dimitri, a Tyler, and I kind of now go back and I wish I just bought one of both.
You should have bought everything.
Right.
You should have taken
But
all
on
your
the other
money.
side of the room was something I
pumps,
wanted.
yeah.
Yeah. And I said to my wife, I was like, oh, I want to buy that. My wife's like, you put that shit on my wall, I'm gonna kill you. And it was, remember like the OG punks,
The wax seal on the back.
they had the seed phrase on the back, the physicals. They were selling 10 of them there. And I was like, yeah, I'll buy one of those. So,
Were you immediately drawn to them?
well, and I got home and I called Zanzibar and I was like, yo, man, I think there's something about these NFTs because he's the one who was kind of pushing me. And he's like, yeah, I'm telling you, man, and then we then I started degenning into everything more, not like the art side, to be very honest with you.
But you saw the punks on the wall and you didn't go home and think like, I need to look
No,
up
we got
what that
punk.
was.
Yeah, I got punks.
Okay,
Yeah, and
so-
we sold them a while back, but
But that was an experience where you saw it.
Correct.
And then you were like, I need to go home.
I just need to go figure out what's going on. Let's also like you said, it wasn't throwing that much money into it at the time, But then that's I think why we also connected is because I think Tony and I have that same feeling. Like I really got connected to the artist directly, and it just like changed everything for me. And it was at a point where I said to Zanzibar and Will, and at the time all three of us were collecting together, just like, guys, we need to like sell all our PFP stuff and just focus on the artist.
How long ago was that? 2 years?
Yeah, like 2000. Like I want to say, even maybe a little early. Like 2021, I already started getting the feeling, and then 2022, I was just like, we need to be fully out. Like when I sold the last 2 punks,
You should have kept the punk, dude.
I'll get a new one. I know, but
We're
to
gonna bully
be
you.
fair though, I sold my last 2 punks I sold with Will and Zanzibar. It was the floor for the punks was 129 ether.
Yeah, it was good.
So I literally sold the top.
You sold the Visa bubble.
So I can't be upset. Like
Are you still collecting PFPs at all these days, or are you just
Nah.
strictly art too?
I mean, I still have my punk and my skull are both on loan currently.
I don't
But-
count like this is probably stupid. Like I don't count like punks, skulls, grifters. There's a few other like ACK PFPs. Like I don't
Yeah.
really count them as like a PFP.
I don't
agree.
think they're a PFP.
I don't count punks as a PFP. at all.
Even though it's like they kind of started the PFP craze.
Yeah.
Like they don't feel.
Which is interesting, Adam, because I feel like skulls aren't a PFP either. I mean, they are a PFP in some ways, but they're not a PFP project. When Sam created them, I think he created them to be a PFP, but not really like the other projects,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's not like a corporate entity
Right.
behind it, which I think is like the difference.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess punks is like different, but yeah.
Well, there wasn't a corporate
Yeah.
entity behind them, and then there was, and then maybe in the future there won't be.
My prediction of that is that they're
2024.
I said when I say 2025, they'll sell them to somebody for $1. That's what
You think that I mean, like you look at skulls and like they're not a PFP, but like they're round with the white border.
No, so I think Sam, we should ask him that question. I think he initially created them to probably be something like of a PFP, but in a very different way, right?
But there's a lot of soul there and storytelling.
Oh,
It's
for
not
sure,
just-
100%.
So that's why it's not
It's
like
his
a
spin.
PFP.
Yeah,
And-
right. It's not like a PFP, but we all use it as a
Yeah.
PFP. So.
The skull print too, like
so nice.
it just
That's
hits
cool.
so much better. Anytime that someone posts the digital, I like retweet the physical. I'm like, no, you gotta like look
This
at
is
it.
coming out in 2 months,
What?
right? Okay. MK Paz's next print, dude.
Yeah. I still need to get my Metropolises printed.
They're kind of expensive. I want to do it because
The
like, they're
MK,
awesome.
the MK Paz one he's doing now.
Are those
Mike,
with Avant?
Yeah,
Mike,
I think
Mike's
it's
So they're
500 each
What for what?
That's not bad.
for the Metropolis print.
yeah, it's not so bad.
Yeah, but when the Metropolis is also like $500, it's
Yeah.
like,
I
which, I mean,
bought-
I've had mine since I went to the Bright Moments like event and minted
I
it.
had
Yeah.
I had
Oh,
a
yeah.
If you love
selling
it, like 500
delegate
is
mine
really.
because
Yeah.
the
But
guy
it's
got
like,
Berlin.
I'm running out of
Didn't
wall
I
space.
do it
Yeah,
for you?
that's
No,
the problem.
it
What
was-
did I do? Oh, I did Eric's.
But mine was a
I got
European.
tubes everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
'Cause
right. Because
I-
they were in different cities.
I needed to get
Yeah.
in my head the ACK palette of the Metropolis.
Yeah.
And, like,
DK.
Did you get one?
yeah.
Which city?
I feel like it was not America.
Yeah.
Like I went in the Bright Moments Discord and like was like in the
found
delegate
somebody?
channel.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't go to Berlin or
I would tell you the
Mexico
ne-
City or
Yeah.
wherever this is.
The next two prints, Mike, MK Paz, and DK's next two prints. I'm telling you, I saw both of them, and they are fucking awesome.
The generative art
Yeah.
like viewing experience really clicked for me. I think it was 2022 NFT NYC when Artbox was at the Samsung building and they had that like 3-story wall.
Was it the projector?
I don't think it was a projector. I thought it was like a LED wall.
There's that Samsung's probably an LED wall.
Yeah, and they were showing like Meridian. Like they showed like every fucking project, but when they showed the Meridian and the Subscape in particular, and you could see like each stroke, each dot in like super high fidelity, I was like, holy shit! Like I've been looking at this on a 49-inch curved monitor that is like 1440 pixels high.
Yeah.
I agree, and I don't even think we're there. Like, I think we're gonna get better with the way that.
Did you see
art is gonna
the
be shown.
CES that
Yeah.
Samsung
Yeah.
like transparent?
Yeah, it's gonna
Crazy.
be sick.
I'm like, how much?
I
do
already reached to Ari and was like, "Yo, what's going on with this thing? Can we use it?" He's like, everybody's texting me. I don't even know what it is."
I feel like a lot of the stuff I'm collecting is for that future where we have either AR glasses or like LED walls.
Well, the AR glasses for Apple will be out by the time this
Yeah,
podcast
it comes out in a week.
wow.
Are you gonna buy one?
No, not
Yeah,
that.
of course
the-
I am.
I thought those were the VR.
No, they're air. Or they're
AR.
both.
They're
But
like
you
a
can,
mix.
You can like
Yeah.
toggle how
Yeah.
intense you want
Yeah.
the AR to VR. You know.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
So it's
And it's
I'm-
what, $3,000?
I
Yeah.
think it's 2,500.
No, it's 3,500. It's. I mean, this comes out in a month. I'm very surprised to see that. I think it's gonna resell. There's only 400,000. Like 3,500. I think.
Look, he's already thinking about having to flip this.
I'm gonna buy as many as I can.
We've already
Look at this
seen.
guy.
Buy as many as I can.
We've
This guy,
already.
he's flipping. He's
Yeah.
flipping AR
No, a
Apple
lot of people are.
glasses.
I'm telling you, all the sneaker kids
Oh yeah.
are buying these.
So how do we get one?
I'll sell you one for $10,000.
No. How do I get one so I can sell it for
Go
10,000?
to the Apple store.
me,
Get a
You have to
10.
wait online at the Apple store.
Camp out.
Oh,
Old
no.
school.
I did that for the Nintendo Wii.
It's like that.
Yeah. Okay.
If it's 3,500, we should probably get a pair.
Okay. So why don't we'll talk
More expensive
without
for the
Adam
pod
around
and be
so we
like,
can-
this is
we can
our
front run Adam.
podcast.
Yeah.
AR
exactly.
glasses, that's going to be pretty cool. That's going to allow like a lot of this work that we are collecting to actually be fully enjoyed. There's stuff like digital fashion is so interesting to me
Yeah.
right now. Like what Drop is doing, you know, and Danny Loftus is like a pioneer in that. And she's got this really cool Instagram account called like This Outfit Does Not Exist. And, you know, with digital fashion, like she shows it off in those Instagram posts, but a lot of people, when they go to buy one, they're like, they're really cool, but like, how the fuck do I wear it? Like, what's that going to be like? But with a world of AR glasses, like everyone can be like rocking their.
It's like in
Their
what was that
outfit.
movie with she does this and she like fights to
Oh, you're
survive.
talking about Hunger Games?
Yeah. So remember in Hunger Games?
Like the most
Yeah,
popular
that-
movie
that
ever.
movie. Remember she has like
where she goes like
Yeah, like that's not what I remember. from
remember
the
like
movie.
there's a point where she's wearing this like crazy outfit and like fire pops
Yeah.
out.
yeah.
You'd be
Like,
like that.
shit like that's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like that's gonna be really cool. I'm
Super.
excited for that. Like, but yeah,
Just walking around on fire.
yeah, you're gonna be walking around like on fire and be like, "Yo, who's that?" Like,
That's dope.
By the way, how about this anonymity? could work even better.
No, people can still see your face.
Yeah,
man.
they can-
They
No, but
take
you
the
can-
glasses
you-
off and they see
Okay.
that's Penny.
It's not like it's not like the person on the L covered in their own piss is gonna have the glasses on and
Did you
see
see
that.
that Dark Mirror episode where you couldn't see the person if they were blocked out?
Yes.
You saw that?
Oh my
We should-
god.
And he was like a pedophile, so he was just like fuzzy image, and nobody could ever talk to him. Right?
Too many things from Black Mirror are going to become true
I think a
because
lot-
they put the idea out into
100%.
the world.
like that. I mean, it's not from that, but like the social score one.
Yeah, that one
That's,
more
like,
than
real
anything.
now.
I think that happens now, and like there's some. I was just reading like some countries are like starting to implement that, like
In China.
China and stuff.
That's real.
yeah.
They have all the surveillance, all the facial tracking,
Well, I guess we'll enjoy it while we can, but our children are fucked. So. it's
and then we
okay.
have like 70-plus-year-old boomers in office in America, just like we got Liz Warren.
It's really.
saying
I mean, I don't want to get off topic
cryptocurrencies.
here, but it is kind of crazy if you think about it that the people who represent us in this country wear diapers, and it's fascinating to me that they don't speak for majority of the country.
We speak for like 4 to 10% of the country.
Yes, and I mean, like, look, I'm not a political person, but I would say that's the only thing I just never understood. It's like, oh, you have to be older to be running a country, and I don't know.
It's like, how do we
all
incentivize
whacked.
like younger people to go to office? Like, you know, I've talked about, I used to work for the government at one point. The people I worked for were all elected officials.
He was an FBI agent.
No, state level, like
Oh, okay.
state of Ohio level,
Yeah.
not like fucking federal level. But you work with all these elected officials, and it's just this giant grab bag of like, this is a 70-year-old dude who doesn't want to use technology, like doesn't want to learn, and just is gonna call you.
Is that how you feel when I call you about using tech?
No, because you actually like once you learn it, you
Oh,
learn
yeah.
it. Like some of these
Dude,
people.
he taught me how to use stickers on the iPhone, man. I'm still in awe about this. Did you know you can make a
I want
sticker
Benny
out of picture?
stickers. Yeah.
Dude, he has some
Send me
great
your
stick-
Benny stickers.
Yeah,
I got one.
I need
Benny's
them.
just shoving a like Wagyu hot dog down
double
his
hot dog,
throat.
double hot dog.
Yeah, double hot dog down his throat.
So good. It was actually an excellent hot dog.
Was it
I didn't know
double
why.
wide or double long?
No, two
Two.
in a row.
Ah,
But did you know that hot dogs can be Wagyu hot dogs? And like, I didn't know what the hell this guy was talking
It's
about.
when you're in
but
Miami
man,
and they're just
yeah.
trying to figure out how to sell a $30 hot
Yeah.
dog, and they're like, "What do we
Oh, it
put?"
tasted amazing.
Oh,
Do you
yeah,
like
that
hot
was
dogs?
Great. I love hot dogs.
This is Wagyu.
Well, yeah,
What do
it's
you-
just meat in a.
I mean, it's
Cake.
great.
Dog
I
form,
understand,
you know,
but
like-
some people might not like them. Okay, let me ask you while we're on hot dogs. You live in Italy.
Correct.
Do you see yourself staying in Italy?
Absolutely.
You love it there.
Why are you in the States right now?
I'm in the States just for
this?
Yeah, for
Well,
this.
yeah,
for
I
this.
knew you flew in
Yeah,
for the
there you
pod.
go.
I flew in for like the
Good
long
answer, Adam.
weekend. I gotta do some tunnel stuff.
Nice.
No,
Boots on the ground.
I'm packing up an old apartment that I used to live in and bringing shit back to Italy. But
How long did you live here in the city?
I mean, I'm a New Yorker, so
Oh.
I was born here. But
Oh, born.
yeah,
So
Where were you born in New York?
Tish.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Wow. I feel like we're so much more
Yeah.
connected than we
I mean, we're
realize.
cousins, bro.
Yeah.
Do you have 23andMe?
I do.
We need
So,
to
okay,
we need
so
to
then
link them. I'm telling you,
do you
that
want
we're
it,
cousins.
you want to know why I have 23andMe? I have it for one reason. Okay. My dad was in Vietnam, and I've been convinced my whole life that I have a half brother or half sister that's Vietnamese, and I will spend my life to find them
He's like,
because
"My
I'm
dad was
convinced
a
that my
horny
dad
bastard."
had other
You know
children.
what's funny?
Yeah.
Is that that's why I got 23andMe too.
what?
Get the fuck out of here.
I swear to
Vietnamese
God.
half brother.
No.
So that's pretty.
Wait,
niche.
how crazy would this be if we were half brothers and we just found out like right now? But no, really, is that
I'll
what
tell
you're
you
doing?
the story.
Okay, let's hear the story.
privately.
I feel like Tony
Oh, we
isn't
can't hear it
Vietnamese.
publicly. Okay.
But that's a little too much.
I mean,
But-
there's nobody who's listening to this podcast.
yeah,
anyway.
but no, I did it because of that.
That's
and
so funny.
And
Did you find somebody?
yes,
That's
Wow.
but not through
Not the way you think.
23andMe.
Okay.
But it did come to fruition. But I was always checking that fucking app. But anyway, we should
All right, we're gonna link up.
link because I wanna.
What was most
Yeah.
of your family from?
So my family, my mom's side obviously are Ashkenazi.
Yeah.
They're from Poland, Ukraine.
Yeah. Okay.
And she's Queens, like OG New York Queens Jew. And,
Born and bred.
Yeah. And my dad's family is from Napoli, Puglia, and Sicilia.
Do you
So-
speak Italian fluently?
Yeah.
I love it.
So
So great.
I don't know. You know, I grew up in this like half and half household of Italian and Jewish, and I just like really glamorized the Italian side and the lifestyle. And I would go there during the summer, so I always knew I was gonna move to Italy. So we're there, and I don't see myself coming back.
That's
like
amazing.
I'll do like a little back and forth. Like we go to Miami for a few months sometimes, and then come back. And so yeah.
My dad always told me that his best friends in the Navy were Italian guys. He said the Italians.
Italian Americans though.
Yeah, he said he loved the Italian Americans because they became very close friends. And then every Friday, they would let my dad go off the boat to pray when they were docked. And all the Italian guys used to pretend they're Jewish so they could go pray and take the night off with them.
That's smart.
I mean, Italians and Jews are very similar.
We all build tunnels.
So I gotta ask Adam, am I the only one here who won't do 23andMe, or are you also?
I'll do it. I just
Why won't you do it?
I don't want them to have my data. Like
They've got everything.
Nope, they got my data.
You get on a plane, right?
Yeah.
They don't have your.
You get on planes. They've got your biometrics. They got
Yeah,
your
but not
face.
like your
not
genome.
my genome.
I mean, there's some.
But they have your eyes.
What are
like-
they gonna do? They're gonna make clones of me? Like I
be
wouldn't
dope.
mind. Yeah, that'd be
Bunch of
great.
little bennies
Like an
around.
army of bennies. Like attacking.
You already did that. You have 3 of them.
I have like 4 or 5. They've been
like,
murdered.
I've been to your house.
Sam has murdered all of them, but Sam Sprat
He keeps
And- and
killing
you
you.
are-
keeps killing my clones.
What are you talking?
Every clone that I
I was
print.
like, wait.
Children?
My children. Oh man.
I was like, I was
not bring that
We're
into
talking about
this.
real clones. I thought we were making a joke here. No, I
I've
have
spent a lot of time looking at the Monument game, and I didn't
Yeah.
see any of your kids in there.
Crazy.
I have 3 children who are like my clones for sure. It's a little weird, but
How many times has Sam killed you?
Oh, at least 5.
4 or 5
You're like the Kenny of
crypto.
crypto.
Crypto art.
of skulls. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of Monument game.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anytime there's a group of skulls,
No, I
it's
really-
like, let's get
I-
Benny on a table.
Yeah,
let's get a knife.
Fake blood.
Him and Joey L find new ways to kill me every time they want to do something. I personally I've told Sam this numerous times, and I've said this on the air, and I truly mean this, that if I was dying of cancer,
God forbid.
God forbid, I would want Sam to eat me. Like
So that he could
consume
absorb
me.
it?
Yeah.
So that he could get sick?
Yeah.
First of all, I looked this up. If you eat cancer, you don't get cancer.
How do you look that up? Where did you look that up?
On Google.
And the first result was like, nope, you're good. Like,
was
I
talking to
tried on AI.
I mean, you're
but they
totally
didn't have
right.
an
I don't
answer.
think it's
I
gonna-
no, it's not. It doesn't. It's not like a
not infectious.
parasite.
Right.
It's not infectious, so it's a basically.
you're gonna get something else from human.
So I
meat,
want him
you
to
know,
eat
like-
I want him to eat my cancer. I think
Oh,
it's
your
the,
cancer specifically.
well. If he doesn't
The
want to eat the
tumor.
rest
He
of my
wants
body and just my cancer, I'd be okay with that. But I want to live, and
What
I
if
feel
it's prostate?
It's colon.
Then it's while he's still alive.
Listen,
you know,
listen.
like
he has to eat and consume. If he consumes me, then he makes art. I will always be in the art. That's my thought process.
what?
I think
if-
just
Yeah, checks out.
I guess you'd be buried, right, Benny? You're not cremated.
Jews are supposed to be buried. Yes.
Cause it'd be really cool if you were cremated and then they put your ashes in like paint, and you were in a painting. So
Problem is everything's gonna be digital.
They'll mint it on the blockchain.
I mean, I like it, but I still rather be eaten. So yeah, but maybe you're right. Maybe they'll take my cancer out. Sam will eat my cancer, and then they'll bury my body.
How the fuck did we get here?
I don't know. It's Benny. So when you
So-
talk to Benny,
Sorry. Yeah.
he's a very
Then we just connected the dots. We went from my Vietnamese half brother.
that you don't know exists.
Like, how cool would it be if I have a Vietnamese half sister, like a redheaded Vietnamese half sister?
I don't know if they'd be
You
ready.
might.
How do you know?
Because it's
Redhead strong
it's a dormant.
It's
trait.
recessive.
I don't think. Yeah,
Let me tell you something. This red I got, they ain't dormant.
You're a little
that
white
shit's
now.
strong.
Yeah, it's getting
I've
a
seen
little
your
gray.
kids. That
You
is-
see my kids,
My
man.
God,
They're red.
man, your genes are strong.
Yeah. Strong genes.
I do 23andMe. I'm going to.
Okay.
Because like I think I have some Jewish in me. Like my
Oh, man,
my
that'd be
grandfather's Jewish.
You can
Oh,
join.
you're Jewish.
Sure.
But
Oh,
I'm
dude.
like,
This guy's sitting here the whole time like,
my
You're
grandfather
Welcome
on my
to the
mom's
tunnel.
side, it didn't go
Hold
down
on,
the
get
right.
him a shovel.
Yeah, it didn't
No.
go right the path.
We'll take the tunnel back.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, man.
my mom's side or my dad's side is 100% Polish. So like,
Oh, dude,
Dude,
you're
you're totally
Jewish.
Jewish.
I mean,
I get the curls. Like my sideburns curl up and like they'll
Yeah.
stop me in the streets.
Forget
Like,
it.
"You're
Okay.
Jewish. I'm like, oh.
Wow, look at this.
Adam's
I didn't
Jewish.
even realize, but I put my arm around you.
Yeah, like
after
you knew
told me.
it.
Right when I
It's
said
like,
that,
You
yeah,
knew the
you could
feeling.
Now it's
All right, now
No.
you're the only person. Now you have to become an honorary Jew. Repeat after me.
I'm telling you, I think that there's something.
He looked
in
me
there.
in the face
Yeah.
and he was very like,
Yeah. Repeat after me. I'll make you Jewish right now. Say Baruch
Bara,
Atah
Ata,
Adonai
Adonai,
Eloheinu
Elheinu,
Melech
Mela,
Ha'olam
Halalom,
Careful, you're gonna get
Hamotzi
smited if you finish that.
what?
Hamotzi
Hamotzi,
Lechem
Lacham,
Min HaNFT.
what?
Min HaNFT.
Min ha NFT.
That's it. You're Jewish.
Sounded like I was minting an NFT.
You see that?
Yeah, I think
Easy
he spun
peasy.
that
Welcome.
in. I didn't see him.
Welcome.
Do I
Yeah.
get to wear a yarmulke now?
Yeah, I'm gonna bring you a keep. I'm gonna bring you a yarmulke. That'd be great. The next for
I
tomorrow.
actually had one on me today. I should have brought
Really?
it
Is it
on.
on? It could
I like
What?
all
No,
the,
it's under here. No,
I like all the
was-
rituals that Jewish people have. Like I feel like the rituals.
No, dude, you haven't seen some. There's
The
one.
older I get, the more I respect them. Like talking to Summer Wagner about rituals, it's like I was never a ritualistic guy.
I mean, I love the family part of it. That's
Yeah.
my big thing. Like for me, but like we also wave chickens over our heads once a year.
You can
Which
pick and,
is
you can
weird.
pick and choose what you want to do.
Yeah.
I feel like Shabbos is
like
amazing.
a
You
buffet.
know what
Yeah,
I mean?
like, I'm not gonna do everything.
It's funny you say so. I was talking to this guy in what's the place in California that everybody goes who is in the web in San Francisco? What do you call it? Cyber
Web.
Silicon.
Silicon
Valley?
Valley.
Dude,
So I was talking to my friend from Silicon Valley, and he says to me, we're doing this big thing now in Silicon Valley. I'm like, what is it? He's like, we're calling it a digital detox on Saturday. So I said,
Oh, you
Shabbos?
eat Shabbos.
Shabbos? He's like, no. Digital detox. I'm like, Shabbos. He's like, no. I was like, well, that's exactly what digital detox is. And now it's like a huge
Ahead of their
thing.
time.
Yeah. So.
all these things like he's on the weekend, he's busy, and we're aping into things,
I
and then
can't-
we're
I-
joking in the group chat
I'm not
like,
allowed
oh,
to do
like Benny can't partake today.
You don't mint on Saturdays?
I try not. I really, I
He
don't.
tries to
don't.
not.
Yeah,
You
I
can
really
get a
try to stay away
proxy
from
to
it.
do it for you.
Yeah, so
you know, like-
Ian's not Jewish. Ian's my proxy because he's definitely not Jewish, and he has a beautiful attic just in case.
You need to hide.
Yeah, I always tell him he puts have pillows and blankets just ready for me and my kids. And
Bring
my
the whole
wife.
family.
I would bring most of my. It depends. If it was a zombie apocalypse, it would be different.
I'd come out. I'm only 2 hours
Yeah,
away.
you're pretty close. And you could just be like, I'll hang out with you guys, but you can't tell anybody that I'm there.
Yeah. But speaking of Ian, we got to talk about co-collecting.
Yes.
Do either of you gentlemen co-collect either in small groups, DAOs,
Yeah.
or are you both solo?
On the ArtXCode level, like we have a wallet where we collect
Nice.
projects from our artists. So like on that level, yeah. And then does it count? Does like Grailers count? Like
That's a
does that?
Oh, I just joined Grailers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Bob was like,
I love
gotta join
Grailers.
Grailers. And
It's great.
did he change his name to Comfy?
Oh, that's right. We
Collect-
spoke in Grailers. When am I
Confused
like all
Collector?
surprised? Remember? He was like,
Yeah. What was his name?
Talking about the hoodie punk?
Yeah.
Confused collector.
Confused
He's
Collector.
really
I think
nice.
maybe did he change his
Now
name?
he's Comfy Capital.
Capital, right? Yeah.
Oh, he changed
So like, also he was in Grailers. So a bunch of like people I really respected.
He's one of the founders, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I joined.
No, Grailers is great.
It's
Grailers-
kind of like the like you said, Block Talk early on. It's kind of like it moved over
It
in
did.
a way.
Yeah. I
That's
could
why.
see
That's
that.
why I joined. Like I totally left Block Talk, joined Grailers, and what I missed there was over in Grailers.
It seems super. I don't know what the right word is. I feel like a dick almost saying this, but the trend I noticed since getting into punks and then art blocks and then now not being as active in any chat is that like the more open and public and like inclusive the chat is, like the quicker it went to shit. Like the punks Discord was great for my first 6 to 9 months.
Yeah.
And then once like everybody on Twitter knew that everybody on Twitter was in the punks Discord, then it became like price only, come in, shill some dog shit, leave.
Yeah,
and then
I-
I noticed
Is it gated?
the punks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there is one now for punks, but like back in the day, there was just like one punks channel.
Yeah.
It was the Crypto Punks channel in the like the Larva Labs Discord, and it was just open to everybody, and it was really good until it hit that critical mass.
Yeah.
And then I always think of the geeks and the mops art, like geeks, mops, and sociopaths article talks about how culture evolves, and then it hits a critical mass, and then these mops come in who are more just there to like, I hate to use the word like sap culture, but like a mop like sucks up all the water and just holds it. It's a similar feeling where you feel like people come in and they
I
take
definitely
it. So
I definitely agree. I think
what I've been trying to say, or what I was trying to say, is like the more token gated or like the smaller chats are just like the only places I can spend time now and not feel like I need to verify every single like person's history, like, because you don't know who's telling you what. And it's like, okay, well, if they bought a Grailers DAO token, I think they're like 0.80th right now or something. So it's like a barrier enough that like they probably care at least some bit about the art, the generative art, the artists, and not just like, can I come in here, join the Grailers DGen channel?
And there's been people in there that like that have come, I think, for like the wrong reasons or not been what Grailers stands for, I guess. And very quickly, like they realize like this is not for you. Like everyone makes it quite uncomfortable for them because like I think we all just stop talking. We're like, oh fuck, like, so and so's in here, not so and so.
Passive aggressive reaction emojis on what they say.
Yeah,
and I think people are making. I agree 100%. I think people are making smaller communities on their own.
I think it's better.
So I think like this idea, like now everybody's like, oh, cabals, like, you know, an old seriousness. There's really no cabal like that's
except the XCopy cabal.
Except the XCopy. Yeah. No, actually, I joined that cabal.
The Doom DAO.
I got it.
Are you in Doom DAO?
I'm in Doom DAO.
No, there's that's one of the only DAOs I'm in. It's like my thoughts were like I have so many XCopy pieces that like 1.2 ETH to like get in is like if it's gonna help all my other XCopy pieces. Like I'm never gonna see a return on joining the DAO.
But
I'd love
if
to
the
help
value
out.
of your XCopies go up 2%.
I actually feel that DAO we might see a little profit. Like I think
they've been buying pieces for cheap.
Yeah,
pieces
Jedi.
that I like.
I think Jedi is really, really very smart collector.
Yeah.
Obviously also specifically for XCopy. And I think Jedi understands the market for XCopy, and the truth is XCopy's selling on secondary is very big, I think, for his market.
Yeah.
So I could see a time where like they make a big profit on a piece and like, okay, everybody, here's your money back or something like that. I you know, that's one of the, look, I've belonged to so many DAOs pretty much, I think.
You co-collect more than anybody I know. That's why I wanted to bring it up. This guy has 37 laptops. He's in
too many laptops.
16 different DAOs. He also trades or collects primarily with Will and Ian.
Yeah.
But then he does some things on his own. But then he does some things with me. But then he does some things.
I think that I collect with a lot of people.
You have a spreadsheet?
Fair. Of course I have a spreadsheet.
Do you really?
Yeah.
How else do you like? I have like 5 pieces that I've collected with people, and I like.
Oh wait, a spreadsheet of like
forget.
everything I collect?
No.
Like
no.
things that
I
you
don't have
like
that.
you co-collect is what I'm.
Oh, I have a spreadsheet for like my fund. That's about it.
But we don't have a
Everything else.
spreadsheet for
No.
Megazord.
No. I don't have one for. I mean, for like maybe for the stuff like for my fund, I'm very clean on a spreadsheet.
But
pretty
like
much
for like
everything else.
you, Will, and Ian, like I'm sure you guys don't have a spreadsheet.
Not
It's
really.
Like, this is everything
we tried
got.
at I think one point and then was like,
Like,
fuck
fuck
it.
that.
But like I think that I collect with a lot of people. I find that DAOs really for the most. I think DAOs are a good idea, but 98% of the time just not going to work. Like I do like Doom DAO. I think there's a good chance. I guess Grailers is a DAO in some ways, so I appreciate that one.
I just don't even know. Like, do we have exposure to what is in the treasury? I've never really fully
I guess
grasped
you
it.
do, but like you don't. Like, I guess like for that one, it's the same thing. Like Ian said, I appreciate. I want to be in a good community, so it's worth the money.
That's what it's for.
But you know, and co-collecting, I think is great because I appreciate collecting with friends. Like the Rip Cash that I own, the
101.
The 101 from it was his first
On-chain
on-chain piece. It's his Genesis on-chain piece. I was looking at it, saw it, and I happened to be talking to Guy NorCal. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna buy this piece. He's like, oh, I was just about to buy it. And I was like, why don't you just buy it together? Like that was it. Like to me, like, you know, the piece has a lot of value.
Do you feel as much connection or attachment to a piece when you co-collect it? Like
Depends on how much
so.
we spent, because a lot of the things we co-collect are things that I couldn't really justify collecting myself. Like it's normally pieces that are like over 5 ETH. So some of them I do.
I feel like the Bats one, I love that we own together.
Yeah.
Right? Like
That's one I never bought myself. It was like 8 or 9 ETH.
Is it a
like
portrait?
or Joey L's piece. I love that we own that together.
Yeah,
Like
I
I think
mean-
there's different things that make me it makes me a little more excited to own together.
Because I know you normally assume when you co-collect something that there's not going to be an exit. Or it's not going to be for a long time. Whereas like when you personally collect something, it's like, okay, I can get out of this. So like anything I put into co-collecting is like, I might not ever see this again. That's completely fine. But it makes us more like, we have a lot more intent behind what we buy because we know that we're not gonna.
I think it's like pieces like we really care about, you know, like those pieces I feel like we created with
Xerox's piece. Like that's
Xerox.
That's a piece I couldn't afford myself.
And I love the group, like, you know, you, me, Guy, Ian, Will. Like
The way we collect is interesting because it's like him, Will, and Ian co-collect, but then they're one entity called Guppy, and then in the group it's Guppy, me, and NorCal. So like they split it up 3 ways. But then you split it up another 3 ways. Like
I mean, basically,
it's
again,
like
I
we
think
have rushing nesting doll of collectors.
it kind of goes back to the point where I just feel like I'm not really in that group to sell the art ever. And again, like,
Which is great.
Right. If somebody comes
I
to
love
us
that.
and says like, hey, they want to buy the bats for like one day for 150 ether, like, okay, maybe we'll sit there and be like, okay, you know, but I don't. I mean, I own a lot
Depends
of art.
on who it is too. Like I feel like we care a lot more.
Well,
about who
Mooncat's gonna have to get it one day because he owns 5 out of 9, so he needs
Mooncat.
4 more.
You going
great.
for all of them? You
Yeah.
think?
I think he is.
I don't think so. I think he's selling when they're up. 5x.
And
He's a trader.
I
I mean, he's gonna keep.
I appreciate Mooncat a lot.
just one more
as a
thread.
trader. Yeah.
One more blast.
thread.
Do we want to talk about
Preferably.
Yaya?
Yeah, we can talk about yeah. I'm down. So I mean, like, here's my thought process. Okay. Yeah, fuck it. I think that I tweeted the other when it happened that I think you saw my tweet. I said collectors exit markets, and I said patrons stay and build.
Yeah.
And I fully believe that. Now, a patron to me is not somebody who doesn't want to make a profit off of art. Patrons make profit, they need to, because that creates an environment they could buy more art and keep being a patron. Collectors, in my opinion, are looking for an exit to exit and not be here for the art at all. I have no problem with collectors because they will help the market, but inevitably, the thing that I think is at the core and the heart of all of this is to be a patron. And I feel that way about all of us here are very much that way. I think that no one's going to deny that, you know, things go up in value. You want to sell them. I understand that. But I just think there's these 2 types of people. And I think for Yaya, he comes in and he's like all upset at everybody. But I think that your actions speak to who you are and what kind of person you are. I'm not knocking him for being a collector, but he was never a patron.
No, and he was right in his thesis.
Correct.
And it played out. And
it played
he
out.
made
Yeah,
over
he made
$10
money.
million.
And good
And
for
it
him.
was good. But you can't also act like you're this loved member of the
Correct.
community who has done so much. It's like, well, you've done a lot for Xcopy, Hackatow, Coldie, but like you did the most for yourself, and that's fine. But don't get upset when like people aren't going to throw you a parade on your way out when you're selling art at a 90% loss.
If I sold Rip's piece, the Genesis piece, I would have a conversation with him before, and it would be in a very beautiful way that I would be celebrating his success
it
and
doesn't
my
look
success.
great when like the artists
not
that
leaving.
you're dumping their work, like
Correct.
they don't even want to tweet about
Yeah.
the work
Yeah.
that you're just massacring the
Yeah.
floor
Were
on.
you guys
like,
close with him? Like at all? Did you?
I wasn't.
theoretically, we were close, but like
Kind of.
I never met him or
Right.
like
I think
got-
it was just like in chats, and I mean, I didn't really talk
he was
to
in
him
small group
much.
chats with us, like less than 10 people, and you know, always just got the vibe that he was looking out for himself, not really like
Yeah, and I think there's other collectors like that. Like in the end, like, you know,
yeah, I won't name him.
I'm not gonna. The only one other name is like, you know, I'm still
3D hoodie punks.
I'm still not sure 888, you know, isn't in that same boot.
888's back.
He's
I
back.
saw
now.
that.
He's
Oh
buying
my
their-
God.
He's buying my bags.
He has a gold hoodie
Node.
notebook.
Yeah, gold node.
Let them
monkey.
buy all the
Are you?
notebooks, man.
I didn't know you were on the fence about 888. I'm like, I thought that was
No,
pretty. Like,
I'm not on the fence. The only one I'm on the fence who blocked me, which I'm still not sure about, is Whale Shark. So like, there's times when I'm like, okay, I think Whale Shark is just a collector and is going to exit this market. But there's other times I hear things about Whale Shark that he isn't. So, and again, I've never met him. He blocked
bag
me.
held like $30 million worth of Top Shot cards.
Yeah, but he buys a lot of. He buys art. Like I don't think he's.
He buys art
He never
like he has
explored it,
$100 million of liquid capital
Yeah.
that we don't know.
But
where
he at least hasn't. That's what I would say. At least he hasn't like spite floored things
No.
like 888 has, and that's the reason why I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't vibe with 888. He, you know, him and Some others like Silver Surfer, like just
It's like on you
putting
as
that down like that.
a
doesn't make sense to
patron
me.
to like not nuke the floor of the artist.
And then you can't come back after you do that
Right.
and you know, gallivant around as this.
Was that what he was kind of trying? I did see a tweet and he was like, he listed something and no one bid. He's like, damn, I guess there aren't any like art collectors out here anymore.
See, I
I'm like,
hate
dude,
that.
I'm like, what?
By the way,
like,
so, like-
you're selling
okay.
something for a loss and you're like
yeah.
bitching that people aren't buying it from you?
deleted
I
his
also
Twitter.
I also want to say this because now that you brought it up, man, I'm really getting controversial today.
Hey.
He's not
That
on Twitter, he wants to do
comment of like, no one's bidding on this, so they don't understand art. I want
Let me link my old thread.
Yeah, I want to exactly. I want to be really clear here. If you bought something, and I bet you Tony's going to back me up on this, that you thought was art, and you spent a certain amount of money on it, okay? If you're then going 2 years down the road and placing a number on it in which people don't see that number and therefore they don't understand the art, I question the original feelings of when you bought it, right? Because you can't buy a piece of art and then expect to flip it, and then when nobody's, or even to sell it, and when you say, well, this is historical, and like, well, you guys all don't see it. Well, if you still think it's historical, guess what? Hold on to it. What the fuck?
If you
Like,
made $10 million,
right.
why are you
Like,
back
what-
selling something for 10
Exactly.
grand?
So like you know, like I guarantee you, like Cosimo is not selling the DK that he bought for $1 million at 100,000. Say none of you understand that this is art. It's stupid. He gets it. He'll hold it for 20 years. Like that's like we have this mentality of flipping. And we got into this like kind of craziness of it, but we don't. When you, and again, Tony's really been in the art space for a long time, especially trad art, so he could back me up here. But like, you don't. Yeah, that's part of the game. But like, you know, if you're gonna buy something that you think has that meaning and historically, then it doesn't matter. Like the idea, like, oh, you all don't understand it. It makes no sense to me.
I mean, you're lying to everyone,
Right.
and maybe you're that delusional. You're lying to yourself. I don't know. You know, that stuff you can read through, right?
Yeah.
Immediately, it's clear as day. But we talk about this all the time at ArtXCode. Like, we need more patrons. Like the whole collector, you know, thing. It's so obvious that why some people are here, but the problem is that if we don't have more patrons, like, you can only collect and flip and floor and blah, blah, blah so long until all the energy is sucked out of the space, the reason to be here, the artist's mental health too. Like,
Yeah.
you guys, like, I don't think people realize how much this affects certain individuals. Like, we're talking about real fucking human beings that have lives, that have put in all this time into their work, and it's really hard. Like, everyone's talking about them all the time on Twitter. Like, I wouldn't say that, you know, that they're like celebrities, but it's kind of, I mean, some of them have grown to be such, and it's really hard to see people, you know, throw around your work like that. And then at a certain point, like, are you going to keep doing it if people are just kind of throwing you around like you know, like Andy with Woody,
and
like,
they got thrown into it quickly. Like, you imagine, like, what people don't realize is that a lot of these artists, many of them have been working for years, right? Like Tyler and Sam and Beeple and even X Copy as well, like years and years and years. And all of a sudden it's like they go from selling things for $800 to like hundreds of $1,000s. The mental Olympics that you have to go through on that.
No, it's so
Right.
much.
And then for us to sit there and then online, we're like thinking how we're judging them, talking about price, and people not realizing that they see everything. And that has to affect it the way they create.
100%.
And which is sad because they should just be creating. And we're putting sort of some kind of like, you know, rules on them, rules of engagement in some ways, that they have to act a certain way instead of just being an artist.
It's tough. And when you keep doing that to them, like, you really do de-incentivize, like, why am I going to stick around and keep doing this here? And then, okay, I guess, like, there is never going to be a shortage of artists in the world, sure, but like, in terms of generative art, for example, it is quite niche, right? And the leaders of this, like, who I view to be the most talented people, like, if we treat them just like, I don't know, like, you know, pieces on a chessboard, fine. I'm not finding a good comparison, and they go, someone will fill the void, sure, and start minting and selling the work, but will the quality be as good? And so it's like, you need to it just goes back to patronage. You need to take care of these people and treat them with respect
Yeah,
and
it's
kindness.
The art could be generative, but the artist shouldn't be generative.
Yeah.
And it's a tough like balance for me, and I'm sure for Adam. Like, I think we both made most of our money through the NFT space, so there was this constant balance of flipping things, because if I don't sell things for more money, then I don't have money to buy art.
Agreed.
But then there's the balance of like, well, I don't want an artist to, like, especially the generative side, like generative kind of marries the profile picture ideas with the one-on-one ideas in a weird way. And like, I made most of my money probably off generative art.
But to clarify, there's nothing wrong
No.
with you selling
But I'm,
work
like,
that you
like,
purchased
hyper
for a
aware
higher
of it.
price.
Like,
I don't think there's anything wrong with selling your work for a higher price. I think that we're
No.
talking about two different
but
things.
there's like
Yeah.
a right way to do it. There's not like a...
Yeah, and I think again, Yaya's whole thing was just like, I can't believe you don't respect me for the amount of money I spent on all of this art. And I'm just like, dude, nobody fucking cares. I don't personally show off all the art that I buy for myself with Ian and Will or my fund or any of it. Like, I don't
You
really.
need to make a gallery.
But I guess I should. But either way, I don't also because I don't want that to define me. What I want to define me is my relationships with the artists. I say this often that if you're a collector or a patron, whatever you want to call yourself, and you are thinking in terms long-term one day that you want people to write articles about you as a collector, or they want a docu-series on Netflix about you, you're thinking about it all wrong. The docu-series and the articles
Never thought about the
have
series.
to be the artist. And then you have to be this little tiny message inside. They're like, oh, some of the people who helped me get here who I love. Our job is to be the man behind the curtain, like the Wizard of Oz. And I think the builders and or the drafters of things, and not be the ones that are the glory of it all doesn't come to us. It needs to come to the artist. That's how you build a renaissance. That's how you get them. That's how you make everybody realize how special this is.
How do you balance making relationships with new artists versus maintaining the ones that you have? Because I honestly think I made a mistake early on. I bought too much art from too many different people, and then it created these like mismanaged expectations. Like, I probably own art from over 300 unique artists.
Wow.
I can't.
Sitting on too many chairs, as they say.
And then like I zoom out and it's like, okay, maybe there's like 25 that I'm like close to.
It's not easy.
I feel like almost indebted to build deeper connections with the people I already own art from. But then sometimes you just like meet somebody.
Like,
and
I don't have a lot of time.
no,
So I have
you're
like
one of
zero
the most
time,
busy people I
but
know.
I try to keep new relationships up. I think it's important. Like, I just had a call with Cowboy Killer.
Joey.
Joey.
Love Joey.
And I bought his piece from Sotheby's, and that's a new relationship with me. But I think he's insanely talented, and I love to see where he
And like
goes.
Joey's someone I have like a deep history with, like him coming in 2021 on Spaces, going through some rough times in his life.
He's
like,
telling me,
yeah.
So like to me, like those relationships are important, and my deeper relationships are with some other artists now. I feel that I've gotten extremely close to, like they're become like, my very close friends.
But it's like you always have to be maintaining those while also looking for new.
Correct, but I do think it goes to I think it goes back to what we just said, that I would like to see other people.
Yeah.
Like,
who
how
are
do you guys
patrons
do it?
come
We
in
need
and
more.
create
We
these
just need more. It
relationships.
can't just be, a hand, like as many people as I can count on my hands. And also, like, you shouldn't feel bad that you're not talking to all 300 of those people.
I'm a natural like people pleaser.
No,
It's
of
a
course,
weird...
me too. It's a curse, but at the same time, like, you can treat them respectfully by just owning those few pieces that you do and treating that with respect, and you can talk to them on a surface level, but like, you need to pick that core group of artists that you really want to, be the patron for.
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like, it's just don't do what we were talking about earlier to the other artists.
Yeah.
And if they check in from time to time, then great. Like, you can have like a nice quick convo, but that's too much of an expectation. Also, I don't think that every artist out there wants necessarily to have to talk to all these people, because that's a lot of collectors too. That's so consuming.
Yes.
You know, and
especially
that
like the generative stuff. Like you put out a collection of 1,000 things, like you might have like 400 new collectors.
it's a lot. It is a lot of pressure, and trust me, like I have a front seat to it. That like artists are getting messages from tons of people, and the expectation might not be met on their end. Like they might not have the time for that, and that's where representation, like what we do at ArtXCode, also can come in to help. Where
Did you go to Marfa?
No.
I know you were there.
Marfa was lovely.
Dude, I met so many people from like obviously the Artbox ecosystem, but like so many of the artists I'd never met, like Harvey,
They love Harvey.
Tom Peterson from Screens, like just walking around seeing the workshops where like they're making things right in front of you, like the wood burning and
Oh, like the mycelium one?
yeah,
That was sick.
the wood where he was doing it
Yeah.
on the wood, and it's like I want to go to more of these to meet people, because I don't get that vibe when I talk like on a Twitter space to somebody, or like when you talk in DMs.
These in-person experiences are so important. I think that Bright Moments has been one of the most important things to ever happen in contemporary generative
Seth and his
art.
brother really killed it.
Seth is such an important guy, like for what he's done for this community. And I think that he and Bright Moments get a lot of flack for, minting, like the minting dynamics, or how confusing things can be, or like
It's
how
not that
can you.
confusing though.
I mean,
It's not terrible.
sometimes it is,
But
like,
they answer questions. I asked Seth.
You mean like having like a delegate to mint it for you,
like
almost, like
that,
in person?
that, or like the mint packs, and if you get this, you get this, and how
That's
do you
true.
mint? So I think that oftentimes, and I've also seen like in the past in a lot of discords, like people being like, how will they keep doing this? They're just flooding the market with art. It's so much art, blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, what they've helped build is a community, and it's a really strong one. Like when you go to a Bright Moments event, like the first time I went was in London, and I was still at the law firm I was working at, and that it was at Bright Moments that it clicked for me. I was like, this is where I want to be. This is what I'm going to work in, because when you're just behind a screen, it's one thing, but when you have these events, and also the flow of them, it's a constant. It's something to look forward to for us all to meet together. It's just so important. It materializes it. It makes it real.
It is nice. I went to the Mexico one, and I literally had the best time.
You always talk about that Mexico trip. That was like,
The Mexico event was amazing.
I'm sad I didn't go.
But I'm gonna go to the one in
You go to Paris?
Italy. I'm gonna go to Paris because I'm going to NFT Paris.
Yeah, I booked my.
This
Paris?
is this is
I'll
coming
be
out
there.
2 months, right?
yeah,
No.
Good, because I haven't told my
Are you
wife.
coming to Paris?
Yeah, then I'm going.
I probably won't be in Paris. That's in February, right?
Yeah, February. I booked a two-week trip. I'm gonna do Paris for the first week, and then somewhere else in Europe.
But then I'm gonna go to. I'm definitely gonna go to Venice.
I'll be at both.
Yeah.
Venice, it's only a 2-hour train ride from Milano, so I'll definitely be
That's
there.
crazy.
I'm
The
so-
European travel of like,
Yeah,
like
talk about tunnels.
going
Yeah.
to Paris
great
to
tunnels
Venice is 2 hours. That's like going
No,
from like
Milan to Venice. But
But that's-
Paris to London is 2 hours. I
That's
thought
like-
that
that's
was
like
crazy.
going
when I lived
from-
in London, I would go to Paris all the
That's
time.
insane.
Just hop
that's
on a
like
train.
Cleveland
Like, go for
to
the day?
Columbus.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Dude, when I drive to Jersey, sometimes it takes me 2.5 hours.
yeah, I know.
Fucking just get on a train for 2 hours. It sounds lovely.
I always make that comparison. I'm like, I could have drove from like Gramercy to fucking Kinnelon, New Jersey in the time that I just went to
Dude, my
Venice,
in-law-
Italy.
My
Like,
in-laws
like-
used to live in Jersey. Then they moved to Israel, so they're 3,000 miles away, which makes our relationship better. But
Like, I
used
wish
to
I'd
have-
moved to Vietnam. Fuck, for
Oh
my
man,
house
if
was
they
there.
use Vietnam, that'd be better. It's crazy. Maybe let's put them somewhere more dangerous, like
How-
like Ukraine. Maybe Ukraine, they could live.
Going back to the patrons,
Yeah.
how do we think that we bring more patrons in this space? Because my playbook in 2021 was, I just made a bunch of dumb money off bullshit, and like I grew up. This may be a weird comparison, but like I grew up where my mom is in the lowest tax bracket, still taking 10% of her income and giving it to the church. And I'm not religious. I don't give money to the church, but I'm like,
Also, because you're Jewish now, so
well, yeah, now, yeah. But if I'm like, I made $1 million, I should put 100,000 back into the art ecosystem, because like this space has given me so much. Like it would be wrong for me to just take that million, pay my taxes, and fuck off.
Yeah.
So it was like, that was how I started collecting art.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
I'm gonna take 10% of my post-tax profit and buy art, and then it was like, I would tweet about that, put out threads, and then other people who made money would maybe do the same, and I try to lead by example. but that really only works when like things get really stupid and people make a bunch of money really quick and have expendable money.
I think
like
there's other ways to do it though.
Yeah, I don't have any experience trying.
No,
to,
I think things have to. You could go.
Like, why don't we talk about the art?
Yeah.
Like, I think even in, like, we sat down today and we've been talking a lot about like, you know, the financial aspect of these things, but like it is so important on like a conceptual level, on a technical level to actually talk about. I mean, we can use the case of generative art, like the practices of these artists, like what's the programs that they're using, what's behind it, what was the, you know, the inspiration behind this work. And I don't think there's enough discourse about the work. Like people really, there's that, you know, that meme of someone walking through, you know,
the gallery.
Yeah, the gallery, like boom, boom, boom. And I truly feel like that's how most people consume this art. I mean, it's like we have to take more time with the work and be intentional in viewing it.
We need more
and
museums,
speaking about it. We need more institutions, which is something that this year, you know, on the ArtXCode side, we've taken like really seriously, like more, I think more so than sales, right? Like we've been talking to MoMA, SMK, which is the National Gallery of Denmark, Buffalo AKG, and like really amongst other museums, and really, you know, making that an important part, like having the artists do residencies, having their work be exhibited and actually spoken about. We need I think we need critics. I think we need people that can, you know, I guess art historians to a certain degree to talk about this work. Without that seriousness, people on the outside that could become patrons will look in, they'll see a bunch of people just talking about money and be like, oh, these people are just, you know, pumping stuff up to sell it to somebody else. And that's something that when I went to the MoMA with Itzel, we had a meeting there with someone from the museum. That's exactly what they said. They said, you know, we really like your work. And we're, you know, very keen on, you know, expanding the conversation around digital art. And they did that with the postcard series. But, you know, someone from the museum was very frank, and they were like, you know, a lot of the people on the board that, you know, that decide what we collect, they think that these prices are extravagant, going up too quickly. The artists don't talk enough about the process. You know, a lot of these artists, like, we don't know what their background was, like where they studied or how they learned
who they were.
Yeah.
And I think maybe anonymity kind of hurts that at points, but you can be an anonymous artist, just talk about like, you know, the work. But I think, yeah, we need to, you know, on the outside, that's what they're thinking. They're thinking like, this is a small group of people that are causing these prices, so we're not going to take that risk. So I think more discourse around the work. I think like more realistic expectations also of like entry price for certain artists at certain levels in their career. Like there are people who blow up overnight, and then all of a sudden their work out of nowhere is selling for, you know, $20,000 on a regular basis. But why? So, and there are people who like totally deserve it, and I'm happy that happens, and it should continue to happen, but not like, it depends on the case, right? Like we need, in order for museums to be able to collect this art too, like the people on those boards they want to be able to collect a work earlier on at a decent price, so that when it does go up to $1 million, they can donate it to the MoMA, because then they can write that off, and then the MoMA will gladly collect that. If it's just boom, $1 million out of nowhere, like they're gonna say, well, how does that work for me?
Do you know, I don't know if this is public information, like the Rafik, I'm assuming it appreciated, the one that was in the MoMA?
The one that Pablo and...
I'm assuming they because they bought it at, I don't remember what price it was, and then they donated it to the MoMA. I'm assuming it appreciated between the time of.
I mean, I don't honestly,
it.
I don't know even if it matters if it appreciated or not. Like, first of all, you know, to be very fair, and congratulations to Rafik to be in the MoMA. But he was not the first digital artist in our space to be in the MoMA.
Right.
Brendan Dawes was, I believe, many years before that. So who is in their permanent collection, and I do agree that museums and institutions are working on this. You know, shout out to Toledo. They gave Osinachi a beautiful residency.
Toledo, Ohio?
Yeah.
Oh, sure.
And they're actually the fourth largest endowed museum, I think, in the country.
It's amazing.
And
That's insane.
they're
I live
known
in
for
Ohio.
their
I
glass
don't even know
work.
that.
Adam Levine runs the museum. Shout out to him. He kind of took that chance before all the museums. He's like,
From
okay,
Maroon 5?
I'm gonna give not the singer.
All right, yeah. I was like, that's pretty crazy.
He gets it all the time. But Adam has actually been in art space forever. He's like kind of like a prodigy in the art world, and he runs a museum there. And he took a chance on doing this artist in residency for digital artists in a place. And I think there's a lot of people who are scratching their head like, what? And
we don't talk about
did
that
beautiful
enough.
work. Yeah, like it was great. And
Really cool.
And now I think they're doing it again with some other artists. And now I know other museums are looking into it.
Yeah, Itzel just did.
Yep.
Shells just did a residency at the SMK, which is the National Gallery of Denmark.
I don't know if that
which
was
is
public.
yeah, she's been like tweeting it out, and I've spoken about it. But like when I speak, it's so funny. Like I tweeted it out, and like no one gave a fuck. Like I maybe got like 25 likes, which I don't go and like count my likes, but I do think it's kind of ridiculous that when I post something, I don't know,
Dude, the
very
algorithm
different.
sucks too. Like, let me bitch
I
about
don't
the algorithm for a
think,
second.
I think it's the algorithm, but I do agree.
I think it's the collectors. They're like, whatever. Like, how much did that sell for? So it's like we need to actually make more big of a fuss about. Wow, like
better
these
conversation.
artists are doing residencies. That's the museum directly being involved with the artist process too. It's not just the work going into the museum, and we also don't talk about how many artists, like you were saying, Brendan Dawes was in MoMA, like Lovid, for example. They're collected by the Whitney, and they're
By the way,
incredible.
Lovid was the first piece by the Whitney they created, and to me, it was such a special moment. Like I remember tweeted and I said,
Wait, the first piece what? Sorry, I didn't hear
that the Whitney digital piece.
Oh, okay.
that
The first digital art piece
that
that
they
the
took
Whitney
in.
ever. Okay.
And I was like, wow, this is a moment. And I remember tweeting the same thing. I write GM, my balls are on fire. I got like 150 likes.
Yeah, exactly.
Lovid, I'm like, oh my God, the Whitney, I got like 4.
It's so sad.
And I was like, what happened? Like, do you not realize?
People need to care more about that because guys, like people are looking in. They come, they look in at
They peek
NFT
in.
Twitter. They're like, what the fuck? And then they turn around. So like we need to be more serious people. And I think
Can you just reach that bottle? Because I want
Yeah.
to talk about this while we're here. Because I think like these are the types of conversations we need to have. Like, so it's also like about the difference that we're trying to. Is there actually wine in there?
there's wine here. We could
Oh,
drink
we
it.
could drink. Can we get some glasses?
When I brought it, I was like, damn, it's a little early. But now, I mean, I have a massive hangover, so this will
Yeah,
help.
so fine.
That's why I have the glasses
but I
on,
think
by
it's-
the way. I'm not a
Yeah.
fucking asshole. I
No,
just
it's okay.
like have a bad
It's very
hangover.
it's very Italian of you to have your glasses.
I just don't
have to bring
feel
wine.
like
So-
I can deal with the light
so
right
this,
now.
I'm gonna let Tony talk about. Let's get this camera zoom in.
The Gran
La Granini.
So this is what I want to say. I want to say this to me when Tony told me about it is exactly what we should
I wish
love.
we would chill it, but fuck
It's
it.
fine. We're in New York.
Um,
What I
naturally chill.
love about this is a project that I don't know if it's going to make millions of dollars, but I do know that it's a passion project that you and Lars put together, right?
Well, it's purely for passion because Lars is not making any money off this,
Correct.
actually.
So I'm gonna let you explain it because
Yeah.
I'm gonna pour everybody a little wine while we're
Yeah.
doing this. So you
So-
explain what this is because I think it's
So-
fascinating.
Last year, this well, that's not how you open it.
Wait.
With a wine opener.
Oh, it's been a while. Okay, hold on.
That's
Sorry.
wax. We'll put it in. I'll help
Okay,
you
I'll
open
let
it.
you open it.
It
You
just kind
tell
of looked
the
like a
story.
screw top.
I thought it was a screw top.
So
Tony's like, oh my God, this Jewish guy. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Jewish guy too. Thank you. So thank you. Yeah. So last year, this winery, this vineyard in Spain reached out to Lars to do. They saw How You See Me, which was his series of. I think there was 21 of them. 101s that explored generative paint mixing on object, which is an incredible collection. And if you haven't seen it, like it's, to me, a true, you want to talk about grail of contemporary generative art. I think it's really beautiful.
I gotta buy one before this comes out.
Well, I don't think that there's any
No, I don't.
listed.
There's not listed.
Yeah.
I've checked plenty of times.
But there you go. So
Did you hear that sound?
That was nice.
How's it smell?
smells good.
Sounds-
It's not corked. So
It was funny when Benny just started to screw the lid.
yeah.
Like,
So yeah, it's a white. That's why I was saying I wish we could chill it. But we'll actually get more of the notes at this temperature anyway. Oh, thank you. So they reached out and they were like, hey, we'd love to put this work on our label. So they make they're naturally practicing vineyard, and this is an indigenous grape. What is it called? It's called Cariñena Blanca is the grape. And anyway, he formatted this to go on the bottle, and they were like, listen, we're a small family-run business. We can't like really give you an artist fee, but we'll send you 2 cases of wine, which is great, right?
How many is in each case?
I think 12.
Oh wow,
So
that's good.
Yeah, so he got some
24
nice
bottles.
wine. There's only a production of 3,000 bottles, I believe.
Okay.
His artwork is on wine that is in stores across Europe, which is an amazing thing. And they, they talk about. I think they have some stuff on their site that they're going to roll out, and this isn't publicly available yet. They just sent it to Lars. He gave it to me on Thursday, but I think
should we not have opened it?
No,
Why?
we're good.
Okay, good. All right.
you drink wine.
Okay, wait. Cheers.
Cheers,
Or
guys.
salud.
Chin chin
Chin chin.
to us.
You do it on wood. That's what you do.
Yeah, on a table. Wow, it's really nice.
It's nice.
Wow.
I think they did like a slight maceration for this. Like they left it on the skin just for like a little bit of time.
Isn't this guy great? Skin
I'm
maceration.
like, good wine.
It's got
Good
like
wine.
Like,
it's got that
doing
nice
the
mouthfeel, like a
cork
little
sniff.
like
Yeah,
a
you
very
gotta, like-
slight tannin, but
Yes.
but it does go down like really well. This is really, really nice. I did not taste this vintage because initially, like when they reached out, I'd never heard of them. So I was like, hold up, Lars. They got to send me the wine. I got to taste it first. So they sent me over a bottle of Milan. I tasted it. And I was like, okay, we're good to go.
Good.
But it was
Yeah.
a different
You gotta
You
varietal.
got to do your due diligence. You can't just
Of
be like,
course, like as with everything. That's why.
for sure.
Now I know this is a.
That's why ArtXCode is here to
but I
drink the
know-
wine.
And exactly. I know that you love this project. Like I could tell, like when I talk to you about it, the passion that you have for just seeing an artist get their art on the label on wine.
Yeah.
You're not making anything off of it.
Nothing.
You're not benefiting. The only benefit that you're getting is this feeling of like this person that I love and believe in is successful.
I'm
And
so
that to me-
proud right now in this moment, like just sitting here with you guys. We're drinking Lars's wine. Like that's crazy. Like 2 years ago, he was just doing data visualization, which is not just doing, it's a really big deal at Google. But now he's creating artworks that are like, you can walk into an enoteca, to a wine shop in Europe and like, oh, look, it's Lars's art. And that's really cool. Like he's bringing beauty into our everyday life. And I think wine is also
I taste
an
a little
art form.
but I taste a little vanilla.
You taste a little vanilla
Really?
notes on it? Okay. Okay. Yeah, there's like a nutty note in there, like maybe like a.
Oh, that might have been your vape. Yeah, well,
I nailed it.
Well, aftertaste.
Just want to make. I want to make Tony.
But this is
Tony like me.
really nice wine. I'm really actually it's better than I thought it would
how
be.
much is each bottle?
They're pretty price accessible. I think that they sell their wine for, this is their nicer cuvee, and I think it's only like €30. But 30
Oh,
euro.
Can I get a case?
Yeah, you can get a case. I'll ask them to
I want a
sell you
case.
one, but
My wife will love this.
it's got to ship over from Spain. They don't sell it in the States,
You
I
gotta
believe.
keep-
But like €30 actually, like in Europe, that's like a nice, that's
Yeah.
what, if you were to go here to like Astor Wine in New York City to buy the same bottle, it would be like $65, which is a nice bottle of wine, in my opinion. Like,
I mean, when you're an
Special
NFT
occasions.
when you're an NFT collector, it's just like a soda. Because
yeah.
Not anymore, dude. That's the thing.
so, yeah, I mean that is
We
part,
had
yeah.
a lot of money for a short amount of time, and then it kind of has matured and is now getting to a point where it's
Yeah.
like, okay, we need to collect with intent. We can't just throw ETH into whatever we see.
No. And I think that's hard for like us because like you want to support everybody. I guess for me, I was just used to it because I've been through this so many times now in crypto that I was just like, I was ready. I've said this to you, like I was ready for it. Like this
pop.
Yeah. Like I was ready for like the pop to come back. I guess for me, the hardest part is and when I'm drunk, I always tweet this. Like I always say like, oh, I wish I could do more. Cause like what I really mean is like, I wish I could just sell something for $1 million and then buy 5,000 pieces of art again. But you know, it's not easy because I want to help everybody. I want to buy everybody's art. But I think it just goes right back to what you said, Tony. Like, I wish there was just more people around.
We need more.
To do that and have that same passion that many of us have.
So we
Including
need to
the
be
four of
more
us here.
serious.
We need-
So I feel like a bad person on Twitter because I use it like my diary, and it's like
No.
very not serious. Like it's a lot of
that's
shit.
okay. Like
a lot of shit posting. Like if you were a very serious 50-year-old gentleman who was like, let me see what this space is about, and then you click my thing and I'm just posting like painted fucking puppets that are holding balls.
You know what though?
Those
Relationships that you're going to build with those people, and I'll prove it to you, doesn't matter what
like
your Twitter
imagine
is.
if Avi met me on Twitter and not in person.
Correct. But Avi then met you in person, and
then
Avi Gittler's a great art collector, patron, salesman, whatever, in the city.
But we went to galleries together
But
after the
but that
pod.
happens
Like
to
we
me
spent
also.
like 4 hours going to galleries. We were trying to go to the Met. It was actually like a Lunar New Year thing. We couldn't go. They had a line out the
I remember
door.
when Ali flew me, like when I flew to Ali to do that speaking engagement in Osprey Studio, and he's like, "Oh, you want to come out?" I said, "Sure." And I got there and I met all these people who I still speak to, who are all fine art people. You know, I'm like, man, I wonder if they see my Twitter. And one of them saw my Twitter, and she wrote to me, and she's I don't want to say her name, but she's a big writer, a big important person in art. And she said, she's like, "Oh, I found your Twitter," and I was like, "Oh God, fuck," you know, because I'm like you, right? And like I pretty much just like to be myself on Twitter.
Yes.
And I think people see that. And I thought she was gonna say something bad. She's like, "I actually thoroughly enjoyed it." She's like, "You're obviously a different person in real life, but kind of the same." And I think that look, I don't want to run away from the meta culture that we built.
No.
Right? I think there's something truly honest to the fact that most of the people who are now collectors and patrons, you know, we didn't have a ton of money. We were a little rough around the edges. We were the misfits. We didn't really belong at everywhere. I think there's something about that makes it interesting and fascinating to those other people, that when they peek in, like you said, that part they're not scared of. I think the part that they're scared of is what you went back to and said, is that they're like, "Okay, I will sell you this piece for $500K. And they're like, "500K? You know what? I could just buy $500K." Like I went to, you'll love this story, to Christie's just recently with Sam Spratt.
Yeah.
And Marcus Fox was showing us around, and you know, he took out some time of his day, which is lovely, and good friends with him. Shout out to Marcus, who's also, by the way, you know, he has pushed digital art with Christie's, and Sotheby's is doing it. So like, shout out to those Christie's and Sotheby's for that. But he showed me this this drawing, a really nice one, not big, and it was $100,000, and it was a Seurat painting. And I stopped for a second. I was like, "Well, I get a Seurat for $100,000? Well, I bought a fucking ape for like $200.
Yeah.
What am I doing?"
Yeah.
And like, I think that's exactly what we're not realizing.
Right.
Like I could have that in my house. Now I don't even know, you know, 100,000, maybe it's not worth that. You know, maybe over time it's not. But still, it's to have that type of,
I mean,
legendary master,
you know,
sitting in my house. Now it was starting bid, maybe it went higher, but still, even that to me was just like I remember saying to Sam after, I was like, "What am I doing?" Like, you know, like
No, you're doing good work.
No,
I mean,
I get it,
like,
but you know what I'm
that's
saying.
not to say that there aren't contemporary digital artists that don't
Agreed.
deserve that.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? So I really don't want that message to be coming across. But going back to Deeze, what you were saying, like, you can be your authentic self. You can be funny. Like, there's room for comedy in the real world outside of, you know, NFT Twitter. Like, people are funny in the art world too, you know? Like, so it's like,
they're
don't like
strange.
shed that.
Yeah.
When I say be more serious, I mean like what we were going back to about like being a patron, treating the art in the right way. Not only talking about the fucking money all the time, and actually talking about this generative paint mixing algorithm that Lars Wander worked 2 years on, inspired by Mark Lovejoy. Like, you know, like, let's talk about that and not that, you know, each How You See Me sold for 15,000 TES. Like, that's, you know, what, when people talk about this series, oftentimes, like, will hit me up and talk about the price because, like, oh, they want one. It's about the money. But, like, rarely is someone asking me about the art. And there have been people that have, like, Alex, AB, he rebranded now to, like, right, like, just Alex. But was one of the collectors who took such an interest in this process.
Oh, Alex does the podcast about
Yes.
Dude, Alex is one of the smartest,
super smart guy
collectors in our space, and I had this great time with him in Miami and Basel. I was just talking to him, and the way he approaches, it was interesting because we were talking about some artists. I was like, what do you think is artist? He's like, I really love that artist. I'm going to get to that artist. Like he said something like next year. I'm like, what do you mean next year? He's like, well, I'm going to take, he takes his time to like deep dive on an artist. And he's like, and I said, well, and this is the point, which I loved. I said something to the effect about like, well, it might go up in price. And he's like, well, that doesn't matter to me. Right. Cause like I will buy it at the time. And Bat kind of is a similar buyer. He does like he like, you know, I'm going to get that artist. And seed phrase, actually, Danny is one of those people who does that also. Danny will always be like, I will purchase that at some point. If the price goes up, then I'll purchase it at that price that goes up. It's a matter of when I'm buying it.
Yeah.
And I take my time to do, and that to me is really fascinating. I love that part of it.
It's collecting with intention too, and taking, you know, not just rushing in. So yeah, like in that case, like, you know, like Alex ended up collecting a bunch of these How You See Me's and spent time with Lars and actually like helped Lars put on a show, an actual show in New York where he did a show with Luke Shannon as well. And like, you know, and Alex was like the patron that helped make that happen. Like, that's what I'm talking
and
about.
he's not on Twitter talking about how he does that.
No, he didn't.
Like,
I don't think he even took credit for it. You know what I mean? Like
He's quiet.
We need more of that. So yeah, let's
talk about patrons. They wanted us to talk about what Rhynotic does behind the scenes for artists and just give him a shout out because I know Adam.
I appreciate it.
You do. So
Adam's
like
in the
all those
trenches.
bots, every bot that you see, every
Discord,
Vulcan, like there's so much depth and it's so funny. I was talking to Rip Cash about Swarm, and I said, you know, you really need to get Discord and this and that. And I said, you know who the person you need to talk to? And he wrote, oh, Rhynotic. I said, yeah. He's like, oh, I'm already talking to him. You know, and I think that most people don't know how many artists actually spend their time with Adam or Rhynotic, sorry.
I would call him
Adam,
I'm
whatever.
docked.
Okay.
Whatever.
So like to and how much help he puts in, and another person who's like, he doesn't like, oh, well, okay, if you want me to create this, it costs you $10,000. Like he's doing it because he's helping the space. And I know that I know that most people don't know that about you, you know, Adam, but I think it's important for the community to see those people. And I love that you do that.
Everybody needs to read the Monty report.
Monty report. That one's, I love it. I mean, I don't remember the interview at all, but like, it was very funny. Cause like I am docs, but like people so I'm like a moderator in the XCopy Discord, and people will be like, oh, like, Adam, like, what was the interview? And someone will post it and it just has like my full name. And I'm like, that's like, it's all right. It's whatever. Yeah. I'm doxed. Like if you search it, you can find it. But I'm like,
that was just like, I really like Monty's profiles because they're generally like,
they're very good.
15-minute readers, so very digestible, but then it's pretty wide ranging. It's normally a little bit around how you collect, what you do before, like what you did before the space. It gives you like a very nice high level overview of like, here's this person before crypto, if you want to say that.
Oh,
and
before crypto.
But like what you do helping out with like the Discord aspect, like that's another form of patronage. It's not only dollars that equate to supporting an artist. So like that's also another question that people ask all the time is like, how can I, you know, I don't have this portfolio to be able to support everyone, you know, with the money. Like, how can I do that? Like that.
And I did that. I mean, that was almost like my, collecting thesis. And like when I was first getting into it, I didn't have a lot of money. I was selling back when I did charge like custom bots. Like I didn't have a job. And I did one for XCopy, and then everyone who saw that was like, hey, I want to pay you to do my bot. And I'm like, well, this person's investing in their artist career. I took the money they gave me, and I usually bought their pieces.
I love that.
It's amazing.
It's like, this is... And then
smart.
everyone
Like,
that I bought, like, did so well. Like, it was like, it was
ACK.
ACK, Lucrece, Ripcash, like, that have all... I mean, they've continued doing work.
But
and
I
like,
agree, you're part of that success in a lot of ways.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Not naming any names, has there ever been an artist that you were like you set up a Discord for and then they just like vanished or like left?
There's a couple.
Did any artists use the Discord to rug anyone and you were like, fuck?
No, it was never that. I mean, there was some people that were like really. It was like I was doing Tezos support for people, and that one is like there's just not a lot of good Tezos like infrastructure, and like Fu is a really good guy who like really goes in. He does the Lucrece Discord.
Okay.
And I did a couple custom Tezos, but it was just such maintenance, and they were like, I paid you $2,000. This has to work perfect. I was like, dude, here's your $2,000 back. Like, please, it's not worth. It's like not that it's not worth my time, but like I don't like you as a person. I'm not gonna collect from you. Like this is.
Yeah.
I don't care about $2,000, but like. So there's been a couple.
Teza's
Of, like,
community, man. It's
Well,
different.
I mean, we were talking about FX Hash. There's so much like
I love what FX Hash is doing lately.
there has
did
to
the
be
2.0
something that
release.
Yeah, the
is
resurgence.
inclusive that allows anybody to mint generative art.
Yeah,
like,
no, I think it's
and
going back
that
to
allows a lot. Like I can't keep. I'm the type of person who collects FX Hash on like a 6-month or year lag. I think like Isakiyas might have been the only thing that like I actually saw before, minted, and like still hold on.
I like looking back and seeing old FX Hash things and just being like, oh, that's cool and cheap, and then buying it like that.
But
that's
like
exciting.
I normally collect it like 6 months after. It's not like
I agree, yeah.
there's so much
It's
coming.
probably to your benefit,
Yeah.
to be honest.
It
in
has to
many
stand the
cases,
test
at
of
least it's-
time.
yeah.
And I want to go back to what you were saying, that it doesn't just have to be about collecting. Like, what's her name? She just became the moderator, the Punks Discord. She's a great collector, but she also writes these threads. Suzanne.
Yes.
Really good.
Like these threads are so good. Like our Attica we're gonna have later on. Like there's like so many amazing, by the way, women who we're not paying attention enough to, who are so in depth of their art IQ, but like do so much. For instance, like Sophia,
yeah,
right?
that's big time.
who really like push as a patron, and it's not just about collecting. I remember like when I went to pick up my Dimitri from Dimitri's studio, and Sophia was there. And she didn't have to be there, and she was just like so excited. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I kept writing emails back to her, and she was super nice, even though I was probably annoying as hell. But like, it's people that get excited about those successes. And I think like, what Adam you're doing is amazing. And the Lars, with the wine, all these things are going to be building blocks to what an art renaissance is going to look like, in my opinion. Everybody's
I think we're living through an art renaissance.
I
It's
do
just,
too.
there's different periods and I fully believe that this is the next artistic renaissance. I mean, digital art, we're living through it. We'll look back on this and be like, holy shit, I can't believe the access to the artists that we had. Like, just even not talking even about collecting it, but like talking to them and having these personal relationships. Like, this is truly an amazing
Can you
time.
imagine like you go back in time and you were like, oh, I collected a Toulouse-Lautrec. I mean, you probably wouldn't have, because he was like,
Nuts.
but he was nuts. But
Nuts.
But you imagine like
that guy's life.
yeah, it was crazy.
Oh my God.
But can you imagine like collecting a Toulouse-Lautrec and then being like, you want to go meet for coffee?
No, he would have met you at the brothel.
Right, made a brothel,
Like,
which would have been interesting.
You would
actually.
have gotten syphilis.
I mean,
and,
I'm
like,
sure
gone
there's like
crazy with him,
artists
but-
in the space now where that's probably the relationship too.
Well, that's what I think that the relationship with the artist now. I mean, they don't maybe take you to strip clubs, but I do think that it's fascinating. It's like I just collected your art. Next time you're in New York,
Art felt so like inaccessible to me growing up. Like I saw grow up poor. You don't really have expendable money. No one in my family is buying and collecting art. Like we would take a field trip to a local art museum, but it felt very, I don't want to say like snobby, but it felt like, we were out of place being there. Like it never felt like I belonged.
I still feel out of place though a lot of times, but yeah.
But now, like when I go to like the MoMA or the Met or whatnot, like, I don't feel out of place. Like I feel like
comfy.
And I feel like I could take my time.
Yeah.
Like when we went to the MoMA and I spent like 5 or 10 minutes in front of The Eternal City by Peter Bloom. It's like I would have never done that as a kid. I felt like the meme that you said where it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But like now I could spend 30 minutes here if I want. Like, no one is going to tell me I need to move. Like no one's going to bother
I'm trying to
me.
get my kids to like look at art and take their time now that we take them to more of the museums. But like, I agree.
This was the first place in like the digital art where I felt like I could collect this. There was no like growing up like, oh, we're going to galleries and like talking to dealers and like.
Yeah.
So that's what got me addicted. I was hosting spaces. That's why we do the pod with so many artists too. Like talk about why do they do what they do? How did they get here? Like what were you doing? Like I like knowing like what they were doing as kids. Like
See, that's patronage
Yes,
right there. You see,
agreed.
like that's so important. What you're doing with that, like just keep doing that.
yeah, and it's fun.
And then
but
you
like,
can tweet out like stuff about balls and.
well, it's
like,
fun
yeah.
because then like some artists will take clips. Like I think of all the artists we've talked to, Jake Fried's probably done the most like chopped up the pod, made a bunch of clips of his own.
Yeah. Oh
and
shit! You just reminded me. I have
Very
to call
hungover
back.
yesterday. Still.
and he still
This is bringing me back.
he still shares them all the time. It's
No,
like,
he does.
We
Do
did
you want
that.
some?
Yeah, I'll take one.
And I know he appreciates it. And and Jake, who I actually believe is one of the most amazing artists in our
His
space.
story is so inspiring. You listen to
Yeah.
him. It's like,
Yeah.
dude was born in Ohio. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for people born in Ohio.
Yeah.
But he goes to
He's
the
also a tunnel builder.
he goes to the Carolinas
Yeah.
and he's like, I'm just gonna work in a grocery store.
Yeah.
Like I gotta make money. And like he's working in a grocery store, he's doing these big ass physicals, and then it hits him like, you know, this big ass physical stuff, like it's not my vibe. Then he has this process of just like, I'm gonna take ink and white out and just work on the same slab.
I still don't think people even realize the art that he's making is
It's
using
wild.
whiteout. By the way, it's the same thing with Osinachi. I don't think people realize he's using Microsoft fucking Word to
Word.
make his art.
No,
And
I
then
know people don't know.
They don't know that.
don't
They
know
look at
that.
it like, oh, this is cool. And then you're like, no, he used Word to make that. Like, wait, what do you mean use
What do
Word?
you mean Word?
It's fucking
Osinachi is one of those
insane.
artists that like I've shown to, you know, normies, whatever, people outside of digital art, and they're like, yeah, that's nice. And then I'm like, he made it in Microsoft Word. They're like, wait,
What?
that? And then they're like, this is incredible.
Yeah.
That is so.
By the way, if you, it's the same thing. Like if you like, I always tell people like zoom in on Sam's work. He makes it out of circles. It's fucking crazy.
Very
dude.
flowy.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
like
wasn't it was it Grant Yoon who did his early work in PowerPoint?
PowerPoint. Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah.
and
And by the way, some I actually like a lot. I always said this to him. Like some of his earlier stuff, I love more than even the newer because I'm just like the way if you could use tools to create fascinating art, like you said, it's not just about the fucking art. It's like the story and this depth
the
to it is
process.
so. The process to me is so important. Now I don't know how we share that, and it's people like ArtXCode and AOTM and you know shout
But
out
it's
to
not-
Rug and all those people that are doing more of that.
It's not just on the big, on you know, like entities to do that. Like there are
Yeah.
collectors that do it all the time. Like, so and so, perfect example. Like the guy's always talking about people's art on tweets, and that's I don't know. I just want to see fucking more of that.
And the more conversations we have to explain that, like Osinachi doing it on Microsoft Word, you know, or obviously and again, I'm biased on a lot of these people because I love them, but also like, you know, Yatreda and how she flies to fucking Ethiopia, uses people from Ethiopia, uses real animals, this is in PowerPoint. You know, sorry, this is in Photoshop.
it's not
Sorry.
PowerPoint either.
But like she's like creating this. She creates the puppets herself. I'm just like, holy
Behind the
shit.
scenes of those creations
Right?
are really beautiful.
It's
Really,
fucking
I
really,
love
really
the
amazing.
documentation of the story.
More of
that
that. We need more of that.
They all do because you get to see like, oh, this giant like dragon type figure. Like, how is this made?
This is coming out 2 months already.
yeah.
All right, so I could just say it here. She's the next Toledo.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
for their
That's really
artist in
cool.
residency. So now it comes out. It'll be out by then. It'll
Yeah.
be official. So I didn't ruin anything.
It's one of those. There's like certain guests you try to get on the pod, and then every time we're in New York, they're not in New
I
York.
know. We're gonna get it though.
And it's like
Yeah.
those are one of the examples where it's
They
like,
just had the most beautiful child. It's unfair how beautiful their child is. It's like it came out. It was like a model. It was like born a model.
no, Joey's
Joey,
piece
yeah.
for the Grails drop was so like I mean the Dino-Ramas.
I love that he did it so differently. And
Yeah,
by
really
the way, I just
cool.
want to give right now a shout out to Eli
Yes.
Yes.
and Proof and that team. I don't care about what everybody wants to say about.
don't care about the floor price moonbirds.
I don't care
Do
about
not care.
Moonbirds. I don't care about Crow and all that nonsense. I want to be very clear
Crow.
on my stance here. I think Eli is one of the best patrons in the
Yep.
space.
Yeah.
And every single artist who has worked with him, every time someone has done work in Proof, I have never heard anybody have anything negative to say.
No.
He's so
And
thoughtful.
it's so thoughtful
I'm-
cares so
He
much.
cares so
And,
much.
and that's the type of thing I want to like say to people, like, guys, like, look, I get it. You're upset about Moonbirds and the Proof Pass and all that, but focus on, don't drag into things that are so good in our community.
I tweeted about it the other
Yeah,
day. I think you
so,
retweeted
yeah,
it. Like,
we were-
like Eli, man, like it's so easy to dunk on Proof, right? Like say what you want to say, but like I think that they've done an incredible job recently, like just trying to do better because that's all we can do. Like, yes, Moonbirds is a thing. It happened. Say what you want to say about the bad business decisions that Proof may have made along the way, but like what they're currently trying to do and how they do support artists in storytelling. That's why Grails is so great too.
Yeah.
And Eli spends so much time with the artists
Grail,
directly, talking to them about their process to convey that in the story. And that's beautiful.
I highly recommend their Grails reviews to like anybody who says that, oh, I like really enjoy the art and the story in this space.
They killed it. Summer, they killed it.
I push them to watch them because it's 60, 90, 120 minutes of 10, 20 different artists, and you get a little bit of background in each piece. Like they do a very good job documenting like the whole process.
I agree.
And if you care about the art, like that's the type of like video stuff that you want to watch, right? Like that's an hour well spent. That's 90 minutes well spent. And then they're doing it with 10, 20 different artists. So you're getting a bunch of different flavors of art. Like it's not just generative art or just illustrations. It's like they have everybody.
Yeah.
And it's a good mix. It's like they're really thoughtful in their creation.
I think the last one they revealed was like the Genesis output of P5JS. Like,
Yeah.
it was crazy.
Yeah.
And like when you looked at the output at first, you might have not been drawn to it.
Right.
But then when you realize like, oh, this is like the first time Thomas Edison turned on a light bulb.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Eli just does a great job, and I'm just wanted to say that because I know you and I both.
No, he's a
feel this
mensch.
way,
I
so-
love him. Big shout out to him. I mean,
Yeah.
he's a great guy. And then I guess while we're on the patron subject, you know who's really great is Susanna Maybank at Tonic.
Yeah. Tonic
is-
also does a great
You want
job.
to talk about being more serious and, but yeah, Susanna Maybank, she's the founder of Tonic, and she was the head of digital art at Gagosian prior to starting Tonic. And the amount of time that she takes to talk to artists that release with her is incredible. I know Lovid is releasing a project with them now.
That's what I just bought.
The
Lovid.
Lovid's not out yet though.
Didn't she just do something on Tonic for 0.5?
It's coming out.
I bought it early.
There's a pre-sale already?
I don't know.
But Benny's in special.
Wow.
Benny's like, how can I?
Got something.
Wow. Okay, I just went out for drinks with Tali and Kyle last night. What the fuck? They didn't tell me about a pre-sale. Okay, anyway. No, but Susanna Maybank, really wonderful patron. Like, we've worked on 2 projects with Tonic, and it's been unlike working with any other platform out there because of the amount of time that she directly takes as the founder to spend with the artist talking about the process. And like I'm talking about hours and hours, like just like what we're doing right now. Like she'll do that and sit down and record just Zoom calls with them for multiple days until she gets down pat the essence of what the project is about, and then does those write-ups that you end up seeing on Tonic. And I think it really comes through, but people might not understand like how much goes into that.
They just don't. They don't see it. And I'm going to say this because you're here, and I know we got to kind of start winding it down, right?
We've winding down the next 15-30.
Like what Tony does for artists. I'm
Herrera?
telling you right. No, this Tony. But Tony Herrera, by the way, he does great stuff also. But I just want to throw that out there. Tony
Your real
Herrera
name isn't Toni Marinara, right?
I mean,
Because it feels like it could be. After talking to you for 2 hours, it feels like
I want to tell you a funny story.
it could be.
Okay. I met Tony finally in person after years, just this in Miami. And I didn't know his real name. And I was talking to your wife. And I said, oh my God, I know his real name now. It was like really exciting for me. She's like, are you going to call him by that? I'm like, no, I'm going to call him Tony.
Well,
Like,
Tony-
to me, it's like, so I know him, Like,
Tony's my middle.
Marinara
It's my middle
spouse.
name.
Yeah.
Tony's my middle name. Marinara is just a joke. I'm very fascinated with Italian American culture. I think that they're creatures.
I love it.
I like to study them. Like I am Italian American, but I'm not a part of that. Like, hey yo, but I do have family that is like that. So I created this alter ego.
Like
when
Toni Marinara is like a Sopranos character.
Yeah, my aunt lives in North Caldwell, right next to the Soprano house. So a lot of my family is like that. They talk like that.
Yes.
But I kind of just like to make fun of them. So I created this alter ego when I used to be a cook in a kitchen.
Okay.
And I had it was on Snapchat.
Did you want to be a chef at some point?
Well, I mean, I was a line cook,
do you cook a lot now?
every night.
Oh, I can't
every
wait to
night.
visit
I
you in
posted on
Italy.
my
Yeah,
Instagrams
that's
all food that I
all
cook.
food, yeah.
But
I need to follow that.
yeah. So anyway, that's how that name began. But
Yeah.
Where
It's
did
great, man.
Rhynotic come from?
Yeah, it's a good
So I want to
question.
call you
That was
Rhino.
my Minecraft name.
Old
My
school.
second Minecraft name. I had 2 accounts at once, and I was grinding.
Are you really good at Minecraft?
I was in
Must
8th
be.
grade. I don't know. You
Can
can't
you
like
come-
be good at Minecraft.
I
don't
so
have
my
to tell
daughter
you.
is starting to get into it. I love you. Can you come over one time and help us?
I believe in her skills as a solo Minecrafter, but I could.
Yeah, she
It's
would love
fun.
to
You wanna
because she
explore
asked
it.
me, and I'm not as good as Minecraft.
Dude,
as-
what do you mean good at
the people
Minecraft?
who
It's crazy.
Nah, there's good or really good. There's guys who are like
A ton of time
people, I should say, who are amazing.
creating
Yeah.
like scaled
Yeah, it's
versions
crazy.
of buildings
That's
and
intense.
cities.
of
I
like
couldn't do
of like
that.
the universe. Like it's
Like, it's
nuts what
art.
they- Yeah,
Like-
100%.
Doing that must be like a form of therapy too. That must be nice.
Oh yeah, I mean we all need therapy.
I'm in therapy, brother.
Next
Yeah.
time we're doing
I'm
mine.
in therapy too. Are you in therapy?
No, I need to.
Yeah, you definitely need therapy.
I did cognitive behavior therapy for a little bit, but I need to like get back into it.
Yeah.
We've talked
It's
a lot
important.
about therapy on a good amount of podcasts now, and
Yeah.
I still have not.
You would do well with therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people who probably puts the burden too much on their partner. Of
Yeah.
just
Yeah, probably. Miss Deeze is probably like, yo, just go see a fucking therapist. Leave me alone.
I had no idea that Kyle from Lovid is a psychiatrist.
Like, oh,
I
really?
just found that out. I just met them. They're gonna come over for Sabbath meal. I'm so excited.
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah,
They're
they're
incredible.
amazing. Lovid is again that Whitney thing. I happen to love both of them. It's a couple that creates it. There is a lot of amazing couples. Sophia Crespo,
Falcon.
operator. You know, like there's like some really awesome artist couples.
Sam and
I just
Rachel.
realized. Sam and Rachel.
Yeah, it's
The
really
creators,
beautiful
yeah.
to watch that
Joey
that
and
Joey and
creation
Kia.
process
Yeah.
between the two of them.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm just friends with Lovid, so I don't know like how they work. But in terms of like Entangled Others, Sophia Crespo and Falcon, Kirk Wright
100%.
McCormick, like
Yeah.
it's amazing to see.
Sophia Crespo has an amazing collection out that probably will be out by the time we have this. But I think they announced it already.
The collaboration that she did do for, I think it was in a Christie's auction with Luigi Serafini.
Yes.
Who is an incredible, he's older, he's like 80, Italian artist who created a world of imaginary creatures
That's the
and
one I was talking
languages.
about,
And
not the other one.
Okay.
Okay.
And
Go
asemic
Yeah.
writings, and it's you have to find this book that he did. It's
Yeah.
this book that he literally created a world with fake languages, fake creatures, fake terrains.
Lord
It's
of
called
the
the
Rings.
It's called the Codex
called the- yeah.
Seraphinius,
It's amazing.
and it is
Oh, wait,
mind blowing.
that's-
So she trained her
Sam
model.
talks about that all the time.
That's the book Sam bought me
It's
for my birthday.
incredible,
Yeah,
and she has this wonderful relationship with him.
Yeah.
And went to his studio in Rome, and he has a studio in Milan. And if you have some time, look up Luigi Serafini studio. The guy's what he
insane.
lives in is like. Talk about you want to like take a hit of fucking and
Yeah.
some wax and walk
Like, if
in
you do
there. You're like
shrooms
in,
there, like,
yeah, you're
forget
like
it.
in some crazy world. But she trained on his work with his permission. That
sick.
piece that Pablo collected, which is in
Yes.
his office, it's so beautiful.
So beautiful.
I mean, she was between that and like another piece to use for the auction. I saw it. I was like, that work right there. It's a fucking masterpiece. She's like, are you sure? I'm like, no. This is one of the coolest things I've ever
you know
seen.
it when you see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Definitely.
really special work and yeah, but like I do love that there's couples in the space. But Sophia, I think her work is special. The stuff she did with Luigi. Sam bought me that book for my birthday.
So
I'm
cool.
still trying to figure out the language.
I want to.
Yeah.
Oh, you're never gonna figure out the language.
No, I mean you try to get through the book. Sam says he completed the whole book, and I was like, "Can you fuck yourself? Why do you always make me feel?"
it's
like
a made up language. I mean, what, he solved it. I
Well,
don't even
think
know if
there's-
Luigi. I mean, he
think
probably
there's people
does. But
online.
He
I don't
thinks
know,
he
there's
solved it.
answers.
that's
Yeah.
crazy. That's crazy. But that that I want to get a first edition of it. They're very expensive.
Which clearly inspired Sam a lot in his work too.
100%.
He talks about it all
He's
the
a
time.
huge fan of his.
Every time
And,
we
yeah.
ask him like, "What are some of your inspirations?" That book comes up. Like,
Well,
Because he's a world builder,
he's a
right?
world-
And
yeah.
that's what Sam is doing too.
Yep.
Like I can totally see why he's inspired by that. I want to meet Luigi Serafini. I think when Sophia comes next to Milan,
Can I
she's gonna
come?
meet with him, and she was told me that she wants me to meet. I have to meet the guy. Like,
I want to come.
let's go.
what
I'll fly there
go.
and do that.
Yeah.
Like that's a once in a lifetime.
Yeah,
thing.
he's
Yeah.
kind of earlier you mentioned art critics, and
Yeah.
I know we're coming up at the end of the 2 hours, so it might be one of our last questions. But I wanted to ask, what are the art critics in our space that you respect and follow, and think that like, you know, what they say is really good and they have really good intentions?
I
Because I
agree.
literally don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, we talked about so I wouldn't call him a critic.
No,
but
he's not a critic.
He's
He's
definitely
like a proponent of the champion of the artists.
But are there
you know,
like
but-
any good critics around.
I would say that the problem is that, to be quite honest, there are none. And
it feels like there's none. That's why I was asking.
There really is none, and I think it's a detriment to us and to the artists.
Like, there is one guy with a blog. He doesn't do it on Twitter.
No. What you're talking
you know
about?
who I'm talking about? I don't know. I'm forgetting his name. It's slipping me. I'll try to find out.
It's like an email blog, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you consider Beanie a critic?
No.
No.
I would say that the issue with Jerry Saltz and why people had the reaction to him is because they don't understand what art criticism is, or an art critic is, I should say, right? An art critic, everybody wants to jump on Jerry Saltz for the Rafik thing, but it's interesting. When I spoke to a lot of artists about that, their reaction was, I would wish Jerry Saltz hated my art. I wish he tweeted and said how much he hated my art.
Paul Reed, is that his name? He does
Minotaur Man?
Yeah.
Jerry Saltz was like, this is absolutely disgusting. I hate this.
And he was
like, this is awesome. I'm so happy I got this tweet.
Because that's what
But I think
an
people
art
are
critic is.
yeah, and people are like, Jerry's allowed to have his own opinions, right? Like, just because he feels that way about Rafik's work doesn't mean that like other critics might, but at least it gets a conversation going. And it's Jerry fucking Saltz. Also, I met Jerry a few months ago, and he was like, what do you do? And I told him, what we do at ArtXCode, and he was like, that's brilliant. Like, he loved it. He was not shitting on digital art. He wasn't shitting on NFTs. He was genuinely interested. Like, he's like, I'd love to see some of the work. Maybe he'll think some of the work shit. Maybe he'll think some of the work.
An art critic doesn't hate art, right? They don't hate art. They love art. Like, that's the whole point.
They love it enough to say what they think.
Right. And by the way, I think that there were some critiques of Rafik's art that were fair. Look, I love Rafik's art. What I love about Rafik's art is that everybody who went to the MoMA left and loved digital art. Like, to me, that's something that almost no digital artist has been able to accomplish, and Rafik did that. I don't think fully Jerry gets that part, but that's okay. What his critique was on. But I remember being in the chat room, in the Rafik's chat room, and I was just like, I don't know, I think we should be embracing this. And I had all these people like, are you a fucking idiot? Blah, 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 this and this, the price of wins. I'm like, guys, you're totally missing the point, right? Like, this is not. I don't think that Jerry Saltz is thinking the price of wins here, and I don't think that the price of wins cares about fucking Jerry Saltz. So, like,
I can't believe that's what they responded with.
Yeah, some of them like,
that's it. That's it. All right there. Price of wins.
Right? Exactly. Like, price of wins is like nothing to do with the wins are a beautiful project that Rafik created.
Do you think it helps that Rafik tweets like wins of Yamanawa bought rocket ship, rocket ship?
I honestly, I don't know if he's even doing his own Twitter at this point.
Not.
Yeah. And I think that, it's like when look, artists have to go and sell. Like, I'm never a proponent to be like, shitting on artists for like throwing sales out there, because I think it's important, and they're a business and they have to figure things out. And hopefully they get to a point when they don't have to do that. And it's promotion of their projects, and I get that.
But back to critics, there aren't enough. I mean, we're like trying to come up with some right now, and we can't even. I mean, there are some collectors out there that do criticize, I think, certain aspects of how work is minted or sold or even created. I think that. Like Alex AB has like a lot of like, I guess what people could call hot takes, but I wouldn't call them hot takes. They're his opinions.
No, I think
and I think that that's important. So a lot of people get like kind of frustrated, like, oh, that's so negative. Or like Pablo, for example, like I know that he's like super controversial right now for his tweets, but at least the man has an opinion. Yeah. He has an opinion.
I agree. And I obviously am biased because I'm close with Pablo. And
He'll
he's a
change
good
his
friend.
opinion.
What?
He'll change the opinions.
No, and he.
It's not like they're
he's
like
not rigid.
No,
it's like the strong opinion, loosely held type idea,
correct.
where it's like put something out, it didn't resonate. I got different information, and I changed my opinion. That's fine.
And I've had long conversations with Pablo about all this, and I keep saying, don't change. Like, there's no reason for you to. And he's not. And look, Pablo has been a great patron for artists like Sophia and Crespo and many others, and he quietly has helped create an environment that people don't realize that is very successful. And look, don't have to agree with everything he says.
No.
And I've said that to him. I'm like, look, not everybody's gonna like you, but then that doesn't matter. Look, I tweet sometimes things that are ridiculous, right? And I
to say the least.
And I for this, I mean, so far, no one's told me that they hate me. I mean, I have some people who blocked me, but you know, like I'm not going to change who I am. And I don't think someone like Pablo should change who he is, because I think he's been extremely successful. Someone like XXX, like Derek to me, you know, who's very quiet, who I think is...
I got to meet him at the People event. You introduced me to him.
Yeah, I introduced
Very
him.
humble.
Very humble. Family is uber involved in art patrons. And he's like, I want to do this. And he's not making a lot of money. And he's doing this because he's like, okay, I could recognize artists and their abilities. And, you know, those types of people, you know, yes, I think that their views, not everybody has to like. And I think that's okay. And sometimes they change. You know, funny, Pablo just won a piece and he bid
426.
Yeah, he did the
420.69. He wrote to me and he said, he's like, get ready, you're gonna love this bid. And you know, like, okay, like I think that's great. You know, he's talking bad about it. I was like, you know,
felt good when he sent it.
Yeah,
Like,
he did. He did. He was so
about it.
happy about it. So like, look, everybody can
It's just a
block.
number.
Right. And by the way, Twitter, everybody can block who they want. But I do think that there's a lack of art critique. Like there's times when I'm wondering if like I've always had this feeling of like, you know what, I'm just gonna become an art critic and just like write the craziest
Well,
thing.
here's the thing.
But,
like, there's a lack of critique, art critique, but I think we need like actual people with background in art history
Yes.
to do that. I don't think
Yes.
it's appropriate for, you know, someone who just
Totally
started
agree.
collecting 2 years ago and got into this to like, they can have their opinions and that's fine. But like, I'm talking about real critics out there.
Yes.
And also just going back to what we're talking about patronage and people talking about the work and being serious, like you can also just collect the work and kind of be silent and that's fine. There's not like, that's awesome. There's a lot of unsung patrons out there that like I don't know if you know Shamrock, like the guy is an incredible collector. I don't think I've ever seen him really tweet like out about like not bragging, but like showing off his collection. He's
love
just
that.
doing it and loving the art and sitting with it and treating it properly. And that's beautiful. Like, you know?
I want, like, that makes me like, I love that. Like,
No, never shut up on Twitter though. You gotta keep doing what
Do you know
you're doing.
Todd Levin?
Yeah.
So he used to be like one of the better, I would say, critics in spaces.
Yeah,
like
he
he would
was.
come
Yeah,
up on
yeah,
stage. I mean, he's like in his 60s, has been collecting art for 40 plus years, lives in a Frank Lloyd Wright house.
Wow, dream.
Like really into like old school vinyl music, like old watches. Like this dude has a whole history of just collecting things. And he would come in spaces and be like,
He used to write really like tweets also about
yeah,
artists.
yeah, and he was very honest. But then he got like flamed by a couple people and then like
That's so
deleted his
wrong.
Twitter.
It's so wrong.
And it's like, this is a guy who is probably more experienced than most of us combined on stage. And like the new school people, you know, one or two people banter or talk shit. And then it just like drove him away. But I think he's starting to come back.
Yeah, he
but it's like,
is,
we need more people like that. Like I want the people who have been in this shit for 40 plus years, have seen the rise and fall of different trends
100%.
to share their experience
and
of
people
like,
people with good art IQs, like Abigail from Avant is one of the brightest.
shout out Avant, by the way. Like I've been
Love
really
their
impressed
stuff.
with
Yeah.
how they came in and have partnered with, you know, a lot of my favorite artists. I'm definitely biased.
That I want to tell you that I did a lot last year. One of my favorite things was Abigail and Mo invited me to see
the Squiggle.
their space in London, to see the Squiggle. And Eric's obviously a close friend, and I got to see Jake's new piece and all these things that they're creating. They introduced me to their print master. And I cannot tell you the experience. Like, I'm still smiling about it because it was so fascinating to watch this guy who's like he's not just a printmaker. The guy's like a fucking like chemist, you know, he's a mathematician. The way that he created that art, the way that Avant, Mo, and Abigail put their thought process into it and then include their historical perspectives of it, to me is fascinating. And I don't think those people enough get the strength. And I shout out to her, like Abigail, who I tell all the time, you know, she's doing these great dinners, like she's doing one with Martin and stuff like that. And she's the one who actually got me into him recently. But like her depth of knowledge of those things is great. Annika, who we're going to have on thing, also same thing. Depth of IQ, art IQ. And I think that we need to stop and study those things more and more. I remember I made a tweet and I compared one of Grant Yun's piece to what's his name? The pool.
Hockney.
What?
David
Hockney's pool.
Hockney.
Yes, thank you. Hockney's pool. And I got people DMing me like, "Yo, what are you doing?" Blah, blah, blah. Like, this is not a knock on fucking Grant Yun. Like, do you understand? Like, the lack of I bet you some of those people didn't even know who David Hockney was. Or recently,
Right.
I posted a picture of the Beeple, where he was with the penises, and I
Which
put
one?
a
Which one?
Exactly.
the one where they all had their dicks out, I think.
Which
The,
was
the
fun.
keyboard monkey cabal.
Yeah, it's
idea?
keyboard
Yeah,
company.
okay.
And I compared it to what's the famous? I'm so bad with names.
Everyone's has their dicks in other
the
dudes'
famous
butts.
photographer from New York with the African American man with the suit.
Oh
and
no, that's not it.
He had his
Joe Meyerowitz,
no. It's killing me.
famous photographer.
Yeah,
I thought you
and they
meant
did
that,
nudes.
like, pre-Renaissance.
And
You're saying the photographer is a black photographer? Or
no. He now I'll find it because I have to find it. We'll just wait. But like the idea that we don't understand our art enough bothers me. And,
Oh, it
yeah.
totally does. I mean, that's my wife's biggest criticism
Yeah.
of the space too. Like my wife studied art history,
Yeah.
like very extensively, and she finds it very frustrating that, many people in our space like fancy themselves these very knowledgeable art collectors, but like, do they know where it came from? And do they know the background? And she challenged me on that early on. She was like, you need to learn, and has been teaching me along the way. And that's great.
But
Like,
you need someone like that.
By the way, my wife has taught me everything about art.
Yeah.
My wife has a master's in art history.
Yeah.
She taught it in college, and like, I don't know anything without her. Every piece
Yeah.
that I buy,
shout out to our wives.
right?
Like what?
Well, Adam soon.
Shout out to
hope-
our wives. The only
Adam's single, but
the single digital art collector life is difficult.
Yeah,
I have
but-
my Skull of Lucy above my bed.
Exactly.
When
It's
we
not
don't have the
right.
lady, like
2024, we're gonna get Adam a wife.
yes,
majored in art history. Yes, that's the goal.
Mrs. Deeze she's not like she doesn't have art history degree or anything, but she vibe checks almost everything.
Yeah.
And I show it to her and I'm like, what do you think of this?
That's
And
important.
she stopped me from buying a lot of things. Or she's
a
like,
lot of bad stuff.
she's
that-
like, just look at this next week. Like you might like it right now, but like don't buy it. Look at it again next week, and then how do you feel then? Because she knows I just get like really excited, and she has much more like I don't know patience and refined taste. Where it's like you're not gonna put that in a house. Like you're not gonna display that anywhere. Don't buy it. The art history thing is something I've had to force myself to get better at. It's like if I'm gonna be an art collector, like I need to know this.
Yeah.
Like the Great Art Explained YouTube channel where they go through either a famous piece or a famous artist's career. Like Gustav Klimt's one's like one of my favorite because I went to the Neue gallery with Avi, and then we saw Adele Bloch-Bauer, giant fucking gold painting with like gold leaf on it. And then I was like, okay, I gotta learn more about this guy. Like, why did this person pay? I don't remember if it was 80 million or 120 million, but it's like, why is this worth this much? And then it's like, Great Art Explained gives you a 30-minute to 90-minute breakdown of
that.
the artist's life, or like Hieronymus Bosch's Garden of Earthly Delights. They do like a 90-minute breakdown of just every panel, what's going on, like the religious undertones. Like, this guy wasn't on LSD or acid. Like, those were like actual ideas from the Bible or religion that come out. And,
they didn't have TV or internet back then.
no, like they
right?
would say that people would go to the
Yeah,
museum where Garden of Earthly Delights was, and they would stand in front of it for like 2 hours.
yeah.
And like that was the movie. Like
Yeah.
looking at the left pane, moving to the right, looking like even things I don't think about where it's like the orientation, like how things are vertically centered. Like you're looking at the very top, but then if you look down in the same plane, it's like something else is going on and it's correlated, but like stuff I wasn't thinking about.
Yeah.
And it's like if you're gonna put a bunch of money into art, like you kind of owe it to yourself and the artist that you're being a patron of to give yourself some like history lessons.
And you're cheating yourself if you don't. Like
Yeah,
it's
I agree.
you're making worse decisions.
Yeah.
And then when you talk to artists about what they make, then you have this kind of framework to lay what they're saying on. And it's like, oh, well, I can, go back to conversations with Jake and Summer, but then I can go back to like the dead masters who have more, content around them. And then I can take what you're saying and blend those two viewpoints together and then make my own decision
in
of
the
like,
end-
do I think you're full of shit or do I think like,
Right.
because there's some, not calling out any specific artists, but like you talk to them about their process and what they're making and you feel like there's like a weird feeling that comes up. It's like, I don't know if like you're just bullshitting me.
And
I never want to be like that
Agreed.
person to say that,
Yeah.
but like I walk away from the conversation thinking like, I don't know how I feel about.
But I think you could tell, right? Like to
Like
me,
when you're in person and you're making eye contact
Yeah.
with them and like,
But I think you can tell when you meet them in IRL, and that's why I love meeting artists in IRL. You can have that feeling of like, I don't
and
know.
I feel bad because if you're constraining who you're a patron of based off of who you meet IRL, you're excluding like 98% plus of potential artists. So it creates this weird dynamic where it's like, I don't want to only collect from people I've met because I'm, handicapping myself.
But once you
severely.
like study your art, you realize all art is derivative.
Of course.
It's like you
Everything.
can't not understand art history and then realize that all art is derivative. And then once you realize that, you're like, okay, like you're okay with it, And
But the artist has to acknowledge like, and maybe me, like I want them to talk about their inspirations.
I
and their
like when
process.
they do that also.
If
Of course.
you took George Condo's work and just
Yeah.
made it your own, but then don't reference George Condo at all in any of your like interviews or processes, like
I think it's not even paying homage. It's also like it helps me understand. Like a lot of times when I speak to artists and they say to me like, oh, I got homage or I took from this artist and that inspired me to do this. It actually lets me love their art more.
Yes.
And I think that you shouldn't be afraid of that. You should be kind of open to that. And the artist that I jive with way more is that. I think we have to.
yeah, we do. We are getting close.
Okay, so I'm gonna. I'll end my thing, and I'm gonna say this because I want to say this about our two guests. Okay, so we'll start with Rhynotic. So Rhynotic, like I said before, is just a tremendous patron of the arts, and then Toni is a tremendous patron of the arts. And I can't stress this enough. I'm happy that we drank wine. And
The
we
wine
talked
was a nice
about
touch.
ridiculous things, but my last thing I want to stress is I know we talked about this a lot today, but the more individuals that we have in our community, like these two people right here, the better off we're going to be. And if anybody's wondering how you jump into this, look at individuals like Toni and Adam to realize the process that you could get into of the relationship building with artists, collecting, and really pushing the boundaries to make this all happen. So I want to give a kudos to both of you because I think you guys don't say anything nice about me because that's not what this is. I'm saying it about you. But I really feel very strongly that the two of you really are special, and we need more individuals like you. And I know, Toni, you feel very strongly about that. So I just want to thank you guys for coming because I want people to see that part of it.
Thank you. Thank you for having us.
It's an honor. I appreciate it.
No, thank you. We like to have this recorded conversation. Maybe people go back in 5 or 10 years and they're like, oh, what was Adam up to? What was Toni up to? What was Benny up to? What the fuck was I up to? And then they can go back and then they have this kind of time capsule, hopefully a little bit more timeless than timely.
Should we ask them the questions?
What about if they're on a desert island?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wait, so part of Shipwrecked is we ask a question. It's, if you were shipwrecked, and you had one album to listen to on the island to get you off, or die. Like you could just, starve and die on the island. But if you could only bring
What do you mean to get me off? You gotta help me get me off?
I mean, what album is gonna give you the energy or the vibrations that get you off the island? Or what album are you gonna
spiritually get off the island? The fact that you're alone, you have nothing to live for, possibly you might not get saved. But something is going to give you peace of mind.
Peace of mind, okay.
Of something that maybe you're going to get saved or maybe you're not. But it could be the end or the beginning. What's that one album that you would take with you?
My album's changed since we first asked this question
really?
too. Yeah.
So now you're going to have to answer that.
Yeah, it's probably now Worlds by Porter Robinson.
Ooh. That's a good choice.
Because it feels like you're almost in like a video game or like an MMO. And it would be like I could escape from island life and feel like I'm
I like that.
fucking Zelda running around with the
I like that.
fairy in my ear.
I actually like that answer. I like that you changed your answer.
Yeah.
We're growing these.
I haven't changed my autobiography though. That's still a Lindy bug.
We'll go straight with that. All right, who's gonna go first?
Get in there. Fuck. Yeah.
I think it has to be jazz then in that case, because if it has to bring me peace, I don't think I could.
Are you a big jazz guy?
It's only I think if it's only like one album, so the repetition of words might almost be too much for me and drive me nuts at a certain point.
You're going insane.
I don't know, Kind of Blue.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that gorgeous.
I have a treat for you next time.
Okay.
You come to New York. Our friend, or who will have to get on actually one time. His name is Emmett Cohen.
Okay.
He's
yes.
one of the top jazz pianists in the world. He plays at Birdland
Amazing.
and he plays with like the legends. Like, next time you come in, you're gonna have to come with me to his thing. It's amazing. And you get to meet like all these like
I'm down.
insane jazz legends and stuff. Like,
I would love that.
incredible, but
Okay.
I like that answer. All right.
I'm gonna say it's not great in this current day and age. Yeezus.
Okay.
I'm getting off the island.
Okay.
I'm getting off the island.
Yeah.
And that's gonna help me get off the island.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with Jesus.
I love Yeezus.
Yeah.
He's coming. Kanye's. I have a Kanye tattoo. You know that?
No, I did
Really?
not know that.
Yeah.
By the way, first of all, okay,
I gotta introduce you to my friend Matt. It's like you guys would get along. All right.
My Kanye fandom has dwindled since I was 18 and I got the tattoo. But I mean, it's the Cause 808s cover, so it's a Cause tattoo.
I think Kanye's an artist, and
Duh.
I think he's out there. He apologized to the Jews recently. Actually, let's do my voiceover
You
again.
apologized.
I'm gonna
to
apologize.
The Jews on
by the
his
way,
behalf.
I apologized last time, right?
And then he came out.
And then he came out and apologized. So let's do it again.
You apologize to the
No. I did it as Kanye, and then we overlaid his voice. So we're gonna do it
AI.
again.
Yeah.
So now this is after the apology. Okay. You're gonna voice it over, right? Okay.
To all my fellow Jews that I have apologized to, I always wanted you to know that it was never personal. But once I found out that you build tunnels, I realized that we are all together in humanity, connected by tunnels in our hearts.
You're gonna voice that over as Kanye, right? Okay.
Amen.
I think that's a great way to. This is how we build.
This is how we build.
I think it's a good way to end it.
And that's how we wrap it up. Adam, Tony, thank you guys.
for
Thank you guys
coming.
for having us.
Thank you. And the wine was amazing. Shout out to Lars.
wine was
Shout
very
out to
good.
Lars.
Yes, please look
Shout
it
out to
up.
Maskelli, the cantina that made it.